That's 800-515-2380.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, by now you've probably heard about All Family Pharmacy. They're fast, reliable, and committed to getting you the medications you need without the runaround. When everyone around you is sick and you know you have to be prepared, or when you don't want to wait in line for maintenance meds, you absolutely need All Family Pharmacy. They've got antibiotics, antivirals, Tamiflu, ivermectin. Order online at allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. On this Wednesday, the corrupt American media is ignoring an enormous story attached to the chaos in Minnesota. There is emerging evidence that a billionaire tech mogul, Neville Roy Singham, is funding, at least in part, the insurrection in Minneapolis. Singham is a communist who lives in Shanghai, China, and is loyal to the Beijing government. 71 years old, born in Connecticut, married to Jody Evans, the founder of the radical group Code Pink. The FBI has investigated Singham in the past. He uses a U.S. nonprofit called Breakthrough News to funnel millions to radical groups like Democratic Socialists of America and the Minnesota Immigrant Rights Action Committee. Those subversive outfits are on the ground in Minnesota, organizing hardcore zealots to disrupt and provoke federal agents. The goal is to undermine the federal government, to create as much violence and chaos as possible. Again, why hasn't this situation been made public by the media? Red alert here, correct? When you have a hostile foreign government engaging with a billionaire to get money to far left radical groups promoting discord, that's a hell of a story. Back in a moment. Bill O'Reilly here. If you are stuck in a timeshare you no longer want, my friends at Lone Star Transfer can assist. Over the past 15 years, the family-owned company has helped more than 30,000 owners break free from their timeshares. They'll provide a guaranteed solution to exit your timeshare. So please call Lone Star Transfer 833-594-0079 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scott with your first alert forecast. We're tracking mostly sunny skies this afternoon high of 30 degrees. Then into Thursday, temperatures cool back down, mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. Overnight, light flurries possible. Into Friday, we drop off 15 degrees. By Saturday morning, could be looking at temperatures just below that 0 degree mark. We've issued a first alert weather day for the frigid cold. Then light snow possible into Sunday, not looking impactful. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scott.
There's a lot to talk about today, St. Louis. Let's get the conversation started. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
Okay, that was really cold coming in today. That kind of sucked. I mean, yesterday it got to 30, 31. That felt like we were practically in a heat wave compared to today. But anyway, it's going to be cold probably the rest of the week with some Arctic temperatures moving in over the weekend. So just be really careful the next few days. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. Appreciate you making News Talk STL part of this Wednesday, as always here. Obviously, all eyes are on what's happening in Minneapolis. But remember, we've spent the last couple of years documenting and talking about the attacks on law enforcement, not just political, not just ideological, but physical. It's happened from New York to Los Angeles down to Texas, everywhere. Just right now, we're looking at it in Minneapolis. Well, Betsy Brantner Smith, Sergeant Smith from the National Police Association, was with us on Tuesday, gave us the perspective from law enforcement. And where is so much of their frustration lying? Well, a lot of it is with the politicians. Here's what she had to say. Obviously, all eyes are on what's happening in Minneapolis right now, but this isn't unique to Minneapolis. We've had an uptick in just absolute, unrestrained attacks on law enforcement over the past few years. So we talk about this from the policy perspective. We talk about it from the political perspective. We talk about it from the messaging perspective. We talk about it from the social media perspective. But I wanted to get the perspective from the men and the women on the ground. I mean, what you made your career in here as well. They may get deployed out to do something that they may not agree with or like or dislike or whatever the case is. Where's the line between, okay, they're just doing their job versus they are the ones who are the face of whatever the controversy is, be it immigration or whatever the case is. So from the law enforcement perspective, what do things look like right now when you suit up and go out?
Well, it's very frustrating for American law enforcement. Let's not forget that last year we had over 350 cops shot. We had 87,000 police officers assaulted last year, and now we've become once again this political pawn. And as a cop, you don't share your political beliefs per se. You go out and you do what you're told to do. But they have the sanctuary left has personalized this, and what is happening now with what's happening in Minnesota is law enforcement all over this nation is being endangered. We have politicians and we have activists who are doing things like they think they're outing ICE agents out doing an operation, and in reality, like in Howard County, Maryland, they interrupted a child predator investigation. This kind of thing is happening all over the country. It's endangering law enforcement officers who, again, just want to do their job. And let me say lastly that immigration and customs enforcement and border patrol are real law enforcement officers. I'm so tired of hearing that they're not real cops, because I hear people say, oh, I support my county deputies, I support my local cops, but I don't support federal agents. We're all law enforcement. We're all part of the same team, and we should act like it.
Betsy, what was your reaction when you hear Governor Tim Walz say, I want Donald Trump to pull his untrained officers or untrained agents out of there? When he said those words, I'm sure you heard them. What was your reaction and the reaction from your team?
I'm so disgusted by the political leadership in Minnesota, starting with Tim Walz. Again, his irresponsible rhetoric endangers law enforcement and endangers his community, his state. And, we've got 2 dead citizens, in part dead thanks to the irresponsible, violent rhetoric coming from the governor's office in Minnesota. And, they talk about, turn the tone down. It needs to start there.
The targeting of these left-wing protesters, doxing the police officers, obviously trying to make it in a very, very personal way to even threaten families. We were talking about, an officer had his credentials stolen at some point as well. From a human perspective, because, just so our friends on the left understand, police officers are humans too. So from that perspective, when you get those kinds of threats, I mean, part of that is trying to drive people out of law enforcement, I would think, or wanting them to leave this particular assignment. How does that affect the actual men and the actual women who are in the uniform, not the professional police officer face, but those who just want to go home that night and go to their kids' Little League game and things like that?
Well, exactly. Why do we become cops? We want to serve our community. We want to serve our country. But we also want to pay our mortgages and send our kids to good schools and things like that. And that's what I think the sanctuary left fails to see these officers as people. And it's so incredibly stressful. It's a stressful job to begin with. Any law enforcement officer has stress in their life. And so we have to understand that these agents on the ground in Minneapolis are hearing this constant cacophony of, I'm going to rape your wife. We're going to find out where your kids are going to school. We're going to be at your house. And indeed, they do get to, we've had a couple of agents who have had to flee their homes because of these protesters. This goes back to why they wear masks.
Yeah, so when we deal with that, I mean, That's something that I can't frankly even comprehend. I mean, there's plenty of people, who like who don't like the people who speak on the radio, but that's nothing compared to what they're going through. You've got, I'm looking at your website right now. One of the things that you have published, National Police Association endorses the No Bounties on Badges Act. So tell me about that, and how would that help push back against the dangers that are being targeted at law enforcement?
Well, what we're trying to do is make doxing a crime, and make if you go to a law enforcement officer's house, or you put out like we had in Chicago, you had I believe he was a Latin King leader, street gang leader in Chicago, put out a bounty on Greg Bavino, head of the Border Patrol. A jury found him not guilty. And, so this is why we need additional legislation to spell these things out. And, we shouldn't have to have this, but legislation does have to keep up with technology, with new crimes. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have to worry about these things. And now, law enforcement, not just federal law enforcement, but all law enforcement, has to worry about some nut showing up at your house because you arrested them or you gave them a ticket or whatever. It's a very difficult time for law enforcement.
We're visiting with Sergeant Betsy Brandner-Smith from the National Police Association, and there's what should be, and a lot of times in these interviews, Betsy, and you and I have had these conversations, like, okay, well, what do we need to do to, fix this or move in the right direction? I don't know that we can. I think we might be so chaotic and so tribal right now that I don't know that we can. But what can be done to restore order and obviously protect everybody, not just your officers, but also, those who want to, gin up the violence on the left as well, because I don't want anybody getting killed over ideological differences whatsoever. But what can be done while recognizing that the touchy-feely, we're all going to somehow sit down and talk this out and hug this out, that's just not going to happen. But what realistically could we do to help sort of de-escalate and restore order?
Well, for example, in Minnesota, what Tim Walz could do, and the Mayor Fry and all of that, is make sure every jail in the state is releasing people who have ICE detainers to ICE at the jail level. And Tim Walz made a statement yesterday, our prisons cooperate with ICE. Prison and jail are different. So there's all these people in jail who, once they get released, whether it's on bond or whatever, if they were turned over to ICE at the building level, they wouldn't have to go out and hunt these people down in the neighborhood. If we had that happen all over the nation, that would be a big part of stopping ICE from having to go into these neighborhoods to arrest these criminals. The other thing would, of course, be what maybe started yesterday with Tim Walz and Donald Trump agreeing to bring the tone down. But I don't have a lot of faith in Jacob Fry or his police chief, quite frankly, who went on CBS this morning weeping over Alex Preddy while not allowing his officers to help these agents.
Producer Jerome chiming in. Thank you again for joining us today, Sergeant Betsy Brandner. We have a question from one of our listeners, a two-part question. He wants to know what you think about the Preddy shooting and the administration's response to the shooting, and if you have any thoughts on Commander Bavino's reassignment.
Well, we haven't heard confirmation that Bavino was reassigned. So, understand that. We're seeing that he's leaving Minneapolis, but the rumors that he's going back to the El Centro sector have not been confirmed. So we'll see about that. But again, remember, he's Border Patrol. Tom Homan, who's coming in, is ICE. They're part of the same federal law enforcement strata, if you will, but they're two somewhat separate organizations in the field. So I wouldn't, don't get too excited about that. What do I think of the Alex Preddy shooting? Mm-hmm. I think that it's a terrible tragedy, and it's become this Second Amendment battle, which shouldn't be. The National Police Association is the most Second Amendment friendly police organization in this nation. But Alex Preddy was not acting within the scope of his concealed carry permit when, while carrying concealed, he decided to insert himself in the arrest of whatever that woman, whatever they were doing with her. He laid hands on a cop. And, that's concealed carry permit 101. We should stop battling each other over Alex Preddy's poor decision making.
All right. Betsy Brantner-Smith, Sergeant Smith from National Police Association. I know that you guys obviously are on top of all of this. Let's go ahead and put out, we've already tagged you in the social media post here as well, but let's put out the website so they can track the blog and follow you on social media as well, Betsy.
Absolutely. Please, everybody, go to nationalpolice.org, nationalpolice.org. See the legislation that we are supporting and see all the things that we do for law enforcement and the people who support us. And hit that donate button if you can. We're a charity. We're not a union.
All right. Flashback Friday coming up here. So get those requests in. Basically, the gate is open for those requests. Send them to Jerome or put them up on the social media channels as well. Man, Wednesday, we're halfway through the week already. So get that sent in. And got any thoughts on anything else? Same thing. Send us notes on social media. Give me a call, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
What happens next?
Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this.
Happens right here.
We will secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com is your one-stop shop for expert insured tree care and more in the greater St. Louis region and at the Lake of the Ozarks. Visit hansonstree.com for 24/7 emergency tree care, grinding and land clearing, awesome organic mulch, green resource recycling, and more. Tim Jones here to tell you that whether you're dealing with old man winter at your home or business in the St. Louis region or preparing your lake home for spring, call Hanson's to help you out. No job too big or too small. Mention News Talk STL. Receive 10% off all tree care services. hansonstree.com, hansonstree.com.
JC's Wayback Machine.
We're doing something nobody in St. Louis radio is doing. We play hundreds of songs you know and love, but that have been squeezed out by the corporatized big station owners. Plus, this week's A-list interview is with the one and only Casey Kasem.
Is Don on the phone?
Somebody get Don on the phone before he loses it. Great tunes from the 90s, 80s, and 70s, all brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hi, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, capitalism, that is increasingly under attack. But why is a free market system so important?
The simple answer, society is much better off because of free markets. Free markets allow individuals and business owners to freely choose what to consume, how to save, where to live and do business, what to produce, and how to protect our valuable resources, and so much more. And this can all happen without requiring heavy government interference. In a nutshell, free markets empower people to live their lives the way they choose. And this makes all our lives better.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. That's 800-439-7851.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, so some people did something at an Ilhan Omar town hall. See what I did there? Some guy did something.
Did something,
yeah. Did you see this video? This
yes.
is so weird. This is so weird. So Ilhan Omar is doing a town hall, and she's talking about how she's going to impeach Kristi Noem and, basically doing the left-wing tripe and the anti-ICE stuff and all this. And then some dude was sitting in the front row, and he stands up and he kind of mumbles something incoherent, and he squirts something out of a syringe.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like a spray bottle. First I saw the headline that he sprayed her with something, and I'm like, okay, so he had a spray bottle. No, he had a syringe, which was a really weird dynamic to see that. And here's what actually happened when it happened.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Okay, so a lot of questions over what happened there. Now, I don't want to be any sort of hypocritical, because we talk a lot about the political violence because, frankly, most of it's directed at the right. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But, for instance, Missouri Congressman Mark Alford, he just doesn't do town halls anymore, because of the threats and the leftists just disrupting them. We had an event, I can say it now because it's been months down the road, but when we had our event with Eric Schmidt and with Glenn Jacobs, we made sure not to tell anybody that Senator Schmidt was going to be there, and he was a big surprise. Now, part of that was because we wanted the big surprise.
Yeah.
But the second part was it really was a security concern. Legitimate. And that's all I'm going to go into, but that it really was. Wesley Bell did a town hall, 3-4 months ago, and it was basically overwhelmed with fringe leftists who are mad at him for not being fringy enough.
Yeah.
And so this is the state that we're in. Now, as these things go, if this was an attack, like I saw a Fox News headline, Ilhan Omar attacked at town hall meeting. If this was an attack, this was the worst attack ever. This was this was the wimpiest attack I've ever seen. I thought she was going to beat his ass. She charged at him, which I'm like, that's not a normal human response, but she charged at him with a fist in the air, and I'm pretty sure she would have beaten him up.
Yeah, I don't want to minimize the potential for this sort of thing and what could have happened, but I've seen WWF, attacks on their opponents during the promos that looked more realistic than this, to be honest. I mean,
so yeah, and I don't want to, because listen, there's a lot of people saying it was completely staged. I don't know. We were texting before the show. Susie's like, I'm 50-50 on it. That's kind of where I'm at too. I'm like, I'm 50-50 on it. Don't ever underestimate incompetence and stupidity. Could be the factor, but I don't know. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, some weirdo got really close to a sitting member of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know what it was that he sprayed at her. Now, first of all, spraying out of a syringe that's a scary visual to start with. She may be one of the worst people in Congress and in America, but she's an elected member of Congress. And we can't get into something where that's normal. We just can't do that.
Yeah, and the fact that it was a syringe, I mean, if he had even worse intentions than he did, he could have easily, and I'll be playing the video on our stream at some point, but he could have easily ran up to her and injected her with something, and that would have completely changed the entire outcome of this conversation, I feel.
Right, yeah, and to this point, we still don't know. Apparently it stunk, whatever it was. But that's a situation where I'm not going to go apocalyptic when it happens to somebody on our side and then just laugh it off when it happens to somebody on their side. The good news is nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. But, there's some questions about this when it turns out that, she wasn't hurt. I can't say that she was never in danger because he got within a foot of her. I mean, he was right there. He was sitting in the front row, and he just stepped up, and then you say, well, I didn't understand what he said. Nobody did. He just mumbled something.
Yeah, the amount of time it took anybody to react to him actually getting up and approaching her, even, like I said, if he had any bad intentions, if he had a hammer or a blunt object or something, he could have actually caused some serious harm.
Or didn't get cold feet or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. Yeah. I mean, so we'll get, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. I got some more details on that in the news dump. Real quick here, President Trump was being asked about the Alex Preddy shooting, and he said something that, frankly, has got Second Amendment advocates even more on our guard. There's a lot of background noise because I think that's Marine One in the background, but I think you can make out what he was saying.
Sir, was Mr. Preddy acting as an assassin? Do you think he was acting as an assassin in Minneapolis?
Who is that?
Mr. Preddy, your deputy chief of staff said that. You don't think so?
With that being said, you know, he can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns.
What about the Second Amendment?
Listen, you can't walk in with guns. You can't do that. But it's just a very unfortunate.
Okay, so that's as close. That was the best angle. There are other angles I couldn't get the audio, but you can't do that. I mean, what he basically said, his words were, "You can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just can't. You can't walk in with guns." And then you've got some reporter going, "What about the Second Amendment?" So we've got this bizarro world where the media suddenly cares about the Second Amendment, and the Republican leadership is like, no. In that situation, you just can't have your Second Amendment rights. And Second Amendment advocacy groups are right to be sounding the alarm and doubling down on that. The president's wrong, just like Kristi Noem was wrong, just like Kash Patel was wrong on this.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit BlueOceanMediaGroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. A Texas-sized tragedy amid the bitter cold that grips so much of the country following that massive winter storm.
In Bonham, Texas,
I watched all of them struggle.
brothers aged 6, 8, and 9 fell through the ice on a pond Monday. Cheyenne Hangeman is their mother.
I ran across as much ice as I could to get to them and eventually ended up falling in myself.
She says she tried to pull them out of the water.
But the ice just kept breaking every time I would set them up there, and I would just keep trying to go to each one of them, trying to help them. and it was only me.
Hangeman said a man eventually arrived on the scene and was able to throw her a rope and pull her out.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. By that time, I knew that my kids were already gone, so I just had to try to fight for my life at that point.
Correspondent Ben Thomas says the weather-related death toll has risen to at least 39. Well, they're pulling the belt even tighter at e-commerce giant Amazon, cutting 16,000 jobs in its latest round of layoffs. Amazon laid off 14,000 workers in October. The cuts come as Wall Street continues setting records. The price of precious metals continues to surge. President Trump says the U.S. economy is building momentum.
The number one country anywhere in history, in the world, anywhere in history for investment coming into the country. And it's amazing, and it's because of tariffs.
The president at a campaign-style rally yesterday in Iowa. We don't know what the substance was, but a man sprayed it on Minnesota Democrat Congresswoman Ilhan Omar at a town hall event in Minneapolis yesterday. The man was tackled and arrested. Omar continued to speak following the attack, which occurred as she had been calling for the resignation of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Dow futures are up 17 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're tracking mostly sunny skies this afternoon high of 30 degrees. Then into Thursday, temperatures cool back down, mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. Overnight, light flurries possible. Into Friday, we drop off 15 degrees. By Saturday morning, could be looking at temperatures just below that 0-degree mark. We've issued a first alert weather day for the frigid cold. Then light snow possible into Sunday, not looking impactful. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Today's story behind the story, the father who puts radioactive material in his child's underwear.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you being intentionally dense?
Huh? Susie Moore.
Have you ever been mistaken for a man?
No. Have you?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
We're a different kind of clown show.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, I don't want to take away from like all the seriousness of what's happening, but it's been a weird 12 hours in the news cycle.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
just a goofy, weird stuff. Okay, so we got plenty to talk about here. And I will never say like the lighter side of these horrific things that are happening, but it's just weird. There's just weird stuff happening.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. For instance, I mean, I guess we got to keep an eye on a possible government shutdown again. I guess.
Theoretically.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're going to survive this one too, if it happens. I think so. I think we're going to make it through.
I'm well stocked up.
Yeah, we'll get through. The president seems to back up the anti-Second Amendment rhetoric that we've heard from some of his team this week. Did you see this?
I didn't.
On the tarmac, yeah, he doubled down on basically what Kash Patel said, and so that's not
Which
going,
time?
The first one when
Right, because Patel revised that.
Yeah, he kind of softened back up. But the first time when he said, you can't do that, well, the president kind of backed that up. That's not going over well with Second Amendment advocates at all. Yeah.
He'll reverse himself.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Billiken's win streak comes down to a last-second shot last night at Chaffetz. This was quite a game. Quite a game. All right, 6:06 right now. Let's get started with the news dump.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Okay, Senate Democrats threatening to sink the government spending bill because it funds ICE and Homeland Security. That could lead to a partial government shutdown if it does not clear the Senate by Friday. Now, some Republicans are calling for a new direction. Of course, we've got more Republicans now starting to get a little squishy on some of the Homeland Security and ICE stuff as well. Congressman Mike Lawler, Republican out of New York State, is among those. He was on Fox's America Reports, and he says, while President Trump is getting illegal immigrants out of the country, he says the recent enforcement operations are leading to chaos. That's his word. Those are his words, not mine. He also says that his latest piece of legislation needs to address legal pathways forward for illegals who are in the country.
The president has effectively addressed the border and is taking care of those that have committed crimes. But there's a larger issue that's been broken for 40 years. We have not had immigration reform since 1986.
Yeah, so I don't really care for Lawler's approach to it, but I'm worried about the backlash of the chaos, which would basically be giving the fringe left what they want when they created the chaos.
Yeah, it's like giving into a temper tantrum.
Yeah, precisely. All right, President Trump's latest comments have put him at odds even further with gun rights groups and Second Amendment advocates and some Republicans.
The president said Alex Preddy, the man fatally shot by a federal agent in Minneapolis, should not have been carrying a gun. He told reporters that protesters can't have guns. But gun rights groups, including the National Rifle Association, said Preddy was legally carrying a concealed weapon. And a spokesman for the Gun Owners of America said they were not happy with the president's remarks. Gun rights groups are one of the Republican Party's most loyal voting blocs. Greg Clugston, the White House.
I am telling you that there are the gun rights, the Second Amendment groups, they are not going to come out and campaign against Republicans, but they may sit out and say, we're not campaigning for the other side, but we're not going to spend tens of millions of dollars with you this year if you don't deliver what you promised.
Yeah, I don't see this as being an issue of not delivering what's promised, because I see this as Donald Trump speaking off the cuff on something that has legal implications that he hasn't thought through and had explained to him recently. It's troubling. He shouldn't be saying those things. They're not going to change any policy on this. There isn't going to be any legislation in Congress about not carrying a gun to a protest. Right. He's not even going to make that a plank that he's going to run on. He just said it off the cuff. He shouldn't have said it. He's wrong.
No, he's wrong.
But a week from now, no one's going to be thinking about it.
Could be. We'll
That's
see
my
how that
prediction.
goes. Yeah, you may very well be right on that. All right, I want to go into this in more depth at 6:20 because this has got everybody debating what actually happened here. So while speaking at a town hall event, a man jumped up and confronted Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. She was in the midst of promising to impeach Kristi Noem if the Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives. And he jumped up and he sprayed her with something, and it looked like it was a syringe that he had. As her aides were asking her to change her clothes, she kind of just kept talking.
Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
Yeah, I wish the look on your face just could come over the airwaves.
I think, there's so many different ways to look at that. First of all, I'm going to give props to Ilhan on a couple things.
Yeah.
Number one, the second it happened, she looked like she was going to beat his butt.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, ooh, man, I would not want to cross her.
And I would have bet on her in that fight.
100%. Because, they talk about fight or flight. Like, let's just assume for argument's sake that this really was organic. Like, she didn't, wasn't staged. Her reaction was not to run away, but to beat his butt.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of admire that. And the other thing was she took the moment to really shine and preen and let everybody know what a bad MF person, whatever she was. Like she was tough. So I got to give her props for that. If it was organic.
Yeah, that's the big question. And I want to give the benefit of the doubt in this situation because we have such serious political violence that's happening. So 620, let's dive into this just a little bit more, 620.
Definitely.
All right, we've got another day or so of kind of basic cold winter weather and then get ready for a weekend of Arctic cold again. Yeah, by Saturday, the low actual temperature is going to be around 3. That's the actual temperature. We'll be back in the mid-30s by early next week. The forecast for tomorrow is a high of 87. That's where I'm going to be tomorrow. The forecast here is going to be in the teens or so. No, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that. My apology.
Right.
Okay. All right. The proposal to restore, and again, the look on your face, if that could come over the radio airways. Yeah. Okay. The proposal to restore presidential primary elections in Missouri is derailed in committee.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. This is interesting. On Tuesday, the House Elections Committee voted to remove that part from an overall election bill. The bill's sponsor, which is Representative Peggy McGaugh, she says she's going to try to add it back as an amendment once the rest of the bill is debated in the full House later this session. And so essentially what that means is, as it stands right now, the next presidential election season, we're looking at caucuses in Missouri for round 2 instead of going back to the presidential primary.
And, Donald Trump will not be running in the next one.
That's right.
So, it could be one of those things where it's a slam dunk for J.D. Vance, and it's not. There's not a whole lot of suspense, but it could be a free for all.
Right.
So that's going to play a role in that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. The Missouri has been sidelined. We basically have no say in the nomination process, at least on the Republican side, because we're so far back in the process, and so many get out after the first 3, 4, 5 states that honestly Missouri's kind of irrelevant, and it really ticks me off because we're not a super swing state like we used to be, but Missouri basically is relegated to just kind of supporting cast in this. I mean, it's essentially decided by the time it gets to us.
Yeah, it is.
And I hate that.
So it removes all the suspense.
Yep. All right, a 3-pointer with 3 seconds to go secures the win for the Billikens last night.
Wow.
This one came down to the wire. Robbie Avila's last-second shot broke the tie and lifted SLU to a 79-76 win over George Washington. By the way, I did not know this because I'm not familiar with George Washington University. Their team name, they are the Revolutionaries. The
Really?
George Washington Revolutionaries.
Oh, I like that.
I do. I like that. So we beat the Revolutionaries at Chaffetz Arena. Billikens are now 20-1, and they are ranked 21st in the nation. They will host Dayton on Friday.
Go Bills.
No, that's right. Blues have now lost 5 in a row.
I know.
Yeah. After giving up 3 goals in the second period, the Blues actually rallied, scored 3 of their own in the third period, but the Stars got 1. So final score was 4-3. Blues are back at home tomorrow. They are going to be facing the Panthers.
All right.
Yep.
And all at once depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
To your indifference. Stop it right now.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
At Grasser Home Services, we're looking for happy plumbers to join our team. Plumbers who are polite, honest, and do the job right.
And love dogs. They must love dogs.
Plumbers who treat customers' homes with respect, care about the details, and show up on time.
Know a happy plumber who's great with dogs?
Have them call Grasser Home Services.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
SR1 Sundays.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Kaiser. Be sure and check out my show, Straight Lines, this and every Sunday at 8 p.m., right after Stand and Fight, part of SR1 Sundays. Let's meet right here and let's peel back some layers of this crazy world, and you might be surprised at what we find. Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on SR1 Sundays at 8 p.m., right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on News Talk STL.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis. Or go online to OverstockOutletSTL.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewsTalkSTL.com.
Okay, what a bizarre scene in Minneapolis yesterday. Now, I'm not talking about like the protest and the violent stuff. It just, a guy gets weird and he jumps up and sprays Congresswoman Ilhan Omar with whatever, something.
Yeah.
Apparently whatever it was smelled really bad, whatever it was. And I have not seen any reports on what it was that he sprayed on her. But what was strange is he jumps up and it's a syringe. It wasn't like a spray bottle or anything. It's not like a spray bottle you spray your like plants with or spray at your cat to get it off the counter or whatever. It was a syringe, which is bizarre.
Well, and that's what I couldn't figure out at first. I was working the desk last night, so I was the one charged with getting the breaking story up on that. And what I tried to do was grab the video, describe it, get the article up, and be accurate as quickly as I could. So I didn't have time to go like analyze what it was, and then later I saw stills that showed that it was a syringe. So at that time I didn't know it was a syringe, but it was weird.
It was like one of those big plastic syringes. It wasn't like it wasn't like a medical syringe, was it? Or was it? What kind of syringe was it? Because it was blurry, I couldn't quite tell.
You know what? I'm not even 100% sure, and I did get a still that I included in my update, and I'll go back and look, but my eyes are a little bleary right now. That was the thing that was confusing at first, because it was like he didn't throw something on her, and it wasn't like you said, it wasn't like a spray bottle. And you couldn't, I was able to make out, the only thing of his that I was able to make out what he said was, you must resign.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, because she had just said she must resign or be impeached.
Meaning Kristi Realm.
Yeah. And, you know, he looked kind of out of it, to be honest. He was definitely scruffy.
Yeah, he got a really weird, like he's not all there kind of thing.
Right. So that's why I'm 50-50 on whether it was staged or organic. It could have just been a weirdo that thought this was making some bold statement. We don't know much about his background yet. He's been identified. He's 55 years old. His name is Andy Kazmarzik. I don't know anything else about him right now.
Yeah, dumb can be very organic.
It can, and disorganized and everything. I'm sure people are doing deep dives into him right now. Yeah. I did see this that I thought was interesting. Mike Davis, who's the Article 3 project guy, no, he's not a shrinking violet. He's out there with what he says. He's like, this is a federal crime. Federal authorities should be investigating this very, very closely because, wink, wink, nod, nod.
Right.
Because I think there's some question about, you know, how did this really happen, and is it going to be properly investigated?
Is he saying Ilhan Omar would do something fraudulent?
Yeah.
Oh.
yes, he is.
Okay. No, but here's the where I want to kind of like walk the tightrope on this is there's two possibilities, like you were just saying, Susie, is one that this was organic and some weirdo nutcase guy, he didn't really charge out. He was sitting in the front row, literally sitting in the front row. And he came up at her, and then he backed off, and then he said what he said, and he squirted whatever he squirted out of the syringe at her. And so there's just a weirdo guy did a weirdo thing.
Yeah.
If that's the case, he got within a foot of a sitting member of Congress.
Right.
And we on the right are incredibly attuned right now to the political violence and the threats that our political opponents have against us physically. Mark Alford, congressman from Missouri, doesn't do, after the Charlie Kirk assassination and the threats of leftists who said out loud, we're going to physically disrupt your town halls. He doesn't even do them anymore.
Right.
Wesley Bells got overrun by fringe leftists who were upset that he wasn't fringe leftist enough.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that we understand. I'm glad she's not hurt.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, and this, he got dangerously close, if that's what it was. Now, there's a lot of people who think it was just completely staged, and if so, it was done very poorly. I don't know about that. I don't underestimate stupidity and incompetence all the way around. And
nuttiness.
And just don't underestimate that. But at the same time, I don't want to say you've got to take. How can you not be worked up when somebody's threatened on the right with political violence, and then just instinctively laugh it off when somebody on the left is threatened with it? We don't. Either we're consistent or we're not on that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's very clear that he did not intend to cause any sort of actual physical damage to her based on how the sequence of events transpired. I mean, it's not right to go places and be spraying people with random substances. And I'm sure that can cause a lot of fear and chaos. But I've seen some people trying to claim that this was a botched assassination attempt.
Yeah.
But in the video that I've been playing for the stream watchers, it's clear he gets up, he runs towards her, he sprays the stuff, and then runs to her side. It would be her left side, the stage right. Far enough away from her that if he really truly intended on injecting her or stabbing her with something or whatever, then he could have totally done that.
She was within arm's reach.
Yeah.
He was right there.
It didn't have a needle. It's one of those like
a medical
like the plastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's like the you know what, I remember I had to use one of those when I had my wisdom teeth taken out. And then you use that to like clean out the wound with the salt water. It's like the one you get from the dentist.
Or if you have pets, you have to give medication.
Yeah,
that's the kind
that's
that you
what
use
it
for
is.
them.
Yeah.
So he couldn't have injected her if he wanted to.
No,
but
he could have tackled her if he wanted to, or if he was really wanting to do bodily harm.
But that doesn't change the fact that this guy got up in a threatening manner a foot away from an elected member of Congress while she was talking to her constituents, regardless of what she was saying, and I don't like anything she was saying.
No.
That is irrelevant to the rest of the situation, though.
The interesting thing about it is the liquid that's still in the syringe looks to be kind of a brownish amber color, which it looked more whitish or yellow when it was being, sprayed at her. So, I'm sure we will learn what it was.
Somebody said that it smelled bad.
They did say it smelled bad.
They said it smelled kind of like vinegar is
That's
one
what
description.
the New York Times reported. And I know the one of the gals that was with her was saying, you need to get checked out. You need to change your clothes. Because,
which honestly, she really should have. I mean, just to be
Let's say that it would have been some kind of acid or something.
Right.
Right.
Or and I want to say this as gently as possible. If it were some sort of biological substance, shall we say?
We'll just call it a biohazard.
But yeah, if it were a biohazard or something like that, then check your skin, make sure. I mean, you just there's no end to how weird and stupid people can get.
If I'm looking at it right now, and I put it in the stream as well. But if that is a biological agent, that gentleman needs to up his fluid intake.
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
But no, I mean, again, it's
or lay off the vitamins or something.
But it's also, I mean, when you see where he sprayed as well, it's clear he was trying to get it on her clothing or to make a statement. So I can see maybe that was meant to be gross, but he had a clear shot to get it all over, on her face.
Yeah,
if he really wanted to, and it's just bizarre that the reaction of the people that are supposed to be doing security or whatever, the reaction.
They were slow.
Okay.
Because he didn't sprint or dive. He got up and just started walking towards her, essentially.
Yeah, and then the guy came from the corner, kind of wrapped his arms around him and pulled him back. But because Susie and I were actually talking about this a little bit ago, I think a lot of people assume that every member of Congress has like full security when they spit. That's not the case. Now, if you're up in the leadership and you're up high enough, then the Capitol Police kind of take charge of that. But most members of Congress, they drive themselves or a staff member drives them. There's usually no metal detector stuff. I mean, it's a pretty normal meet the person at whatever, unless you're one of those really super high ranking members of Congress.
Yeah. And my thought was, even if it was a situation where they had like a metal detector outside the building for people to come in, that wouldn't have picked up something like that.
I mean, in all the years, and I've been doing some kind of media stuff for like 30 years now, and in all the years I've been dealing with this, the only time I've ever worked with like security for a member of Congress. Now, I've covered, presidential visits and vice presidential visits, and, the governor always has a security detail and that sort of thing. But only one time did I have to meet with Capitol Police and their affiliates, and that was when Steve Scalise came to a studio that I was working at the time. So he was ranking high enough that I had to meet with the folks from Capitol Police, and they had at the time it was the Kansas Highway Patrol because we were just on the other side of the border, and they had to come and vet the whole building and ask questions about what was where and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Very routine. They checked a few boxes. They weren't worried about it. Then Congressman Scalise could come in, and we met with him and had him on the station. But that was the only time. Every other time, I mean, like when we have members of Congress, who have been in the studio with us and that sort of thing, they just kind of show up in the lobby just like everybody else. Now
That's
we're
true.
secure here, so they're behind locked doors here. But that's actually pretty normal. Now that may change, but when people say how could he may get that close, well, that's actually pretty normal. That's how it goes if you're not in that top echelon of leadership.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, I mean, it kind of does bring home the fact that if someone really wanted to do harm, which unfortunately we live in times that are very fraught and very tense, that it wouldn't be that hard for them to do that.
So we got a couple interesting comments. A lot of people are definitely questioning the validity of it not being a PR.
I don't blame you.
And,
I don't blame you.
I want to say as well, again, from seeing the video and seeing how everything played out, we can't necessarily rule it out, but we don't have anything definitive that we can point to say, like a pay stub or a plan or something to say that it was staged. It was definitely bizarre. Now,
he was looking for Subway in the middle of the night. And it was with, and
his conspirators yelled, "This is MAGA country." In the bunch
Right.
Now, our Democratic friend Scooter says the way conservative programs and their audiences talk about Rep. Omar, I'm not surprised she was attacked, especially due to how she's talked about it on social media.
Well, you know what? There's a point to that. She is not
well
liked.
There's a point there.
She is not well liked. She is one of the least liked members of Congress, I would say. But you could apply that role and that rationale to, for instance, I don't know, Donald Trump. For instance, J.D. Vance. You can pick any Republican, and they've had horrible, horrible things said about them and threatened against them from the left. I'm not saying two wrongs make a right. All I'm saying
it doesn't
justify it. But all I'm saying is, if you're worried about the rhetoric adding to this, then you need to be worried about it all around, Scooter. Thank you.
And then Vicky points out that the fact that Omar immediately kind of chased after him, and you can see she has her fist raised like
we
she's
were
mad,
talking about that,
is why she believes it could have been a staged thing, because usually in time, I mean, the fight or flight response, you don't really know how you're going to respond in situations like this. 20% of people freeze, and then from there, the rest of the people either run away or they run towards danger. I'm one of those where I fight.
Yeah,
I think so is Ilhan. My gut tells me that Ilhan is a fighter.
Yeah, because, and I know someone's getting mad at me. I'll just apologize. And I'm going to say that there are differences between men and women. Typically, when a woman's reaction is, she's not a very big person by any means.
No, she's average size.
She's typically a woman's reaction would be, because this guy was bigger than her, would be the flight and to get back. She did not hesitate, and she's like cock the fist and cuss at him and charge after him and that sort of stuff.
Typically, yeah, but I know some women whose reactions would have been a lot like Ilhan's.
Oh yeah, unfortunately my daughter would, and she's 5 foot tall and like 105 pounds.
Yeah,
so and I'm like, you're going to get like in trouble if you keep doing that.
Right.
So I do know that there are some women on that, but yeah, the reaction was, and I'm like you, I don't even know that I have a flight, and that's probably bad.
I probably do. I'm not somebody who's, I don't know. The only time I was in a fight, I wasn't really in the fight. I just was collateral damage from someone else's fight, and I really didn't have a chance to react one way or the other. I just got knocked out. So I don't know. But
but now let me go back, to because Scooter, is basically saying, what about, all this rhetoric?
Right.
Hey, I think Ilhan Omar is a terrible person.
I do too.
I really do. And her ideology is horrific. And she's, I think, made it very, very clear that she is not loyal to the United States. That does not justify this.
In no way.
To your point, then that's what I was saying earlier, is I don't want to laugh it off when there's a threat to the other side, when we're very in tune and hyped up about the threats to our side. We've got to be consistent on this.
Hey, don't attack people.
Yeah.
Don't physically accost them.
She's going to be reelected as long as she wants in that district. I think that's unfortunate for the country, but that doesn't justify what happened one way or the other. Doesn't
Nope.
justify it if it was some crazy guy attacking her. Doesn't justify it if they were doing play acting. But let's assume, until we get proof otherwise, that it was a weirdo nutcase who got way too close to a sitting member of Congress.
Agreed. Hey, Susie.
Hey, what?
Do you know what day it is?
Is it bump day?
It's bump day. So this Friday we are doing our Flashback Friday. Despite Mike,
Say, let me know how it goes when I get back.
Mike.
abandoning us, we will still be doing a Flashback Friday. This week, I want to hear your best deep cuts and maybe some underappreciated 80s songs. So go ahead and send me your best deep cuts from the 80s to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
It had to be something to do with you. I really don't mind what happens now and then, as long as you'll be my friend at the end. And if I go crazy, then will you still come?
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Someone in that control room is out of control.
On News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Hancock with your first alert forecast. We're tracking mostly sunny skies this afternoon high of 30 degrees. Then into Thursday, temperatures cool back down, mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. Overnight, light flurries possible. Into Friday, we drop off 15 degrees. By Saturday morning, could be looking at temperatures just below that 0 degree mark. We've issued a first alert weather day for the frigid cold. Then light snow possible into Sunday, not looking impactful. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scott.
This is Larry Connors, and my favorite sandwich at Capriati's is a Philly cheesesteak with peppers. Sweet peppers, but sometimes hot peppers. I love Capriati's, and so will you.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Very active, very fun chat box. Cinderfer. Hi, Cinderfer.
Hey, how you doing?
She says, yo, Vic, baby. Verbatim, yo, Vic, baby. With an exclamation point. How else are you supposed to read that? I was driving, had to pull over to comment. I was going to say how sexy the beard is, but I'm afraid of your wife.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I would be.
Vic Borselli. Live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newstedter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch, WowDiamonds.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Braxton was diagnosed with choroid plexus carcinoma, a brain tumor. St. Jude is helping us put away our fears. We have an amazing team that fights for the best outcome for Braxton. He has the best chance here. I don't have to worry that how much is that bag of fluid going to cost me? Can I afford it to save my child's life? The donations, they're paying for me to live every day with my son, be stress-free, and enjoy every day with him. I wish there was a word bigger than thank you, more close to the heart, because thank you's not enough. They've given me hope. They've given me my son.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Mother,
Tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say, mother.
Hi, it's Randy Toldjah here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Okay, trivia question. What's the only morning show in St. Louis that plays Danzig for bump music?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I would like to phone a friend, and I'll use Susie and also agree.
That's right. You know why? Because we can.
Because we
There
can.
you go. All right. Okay, we've heard the big talk. So now it's time for Missouri lawmakers to deliver. So let's assess the momentum when it comes to tax reform, maybe even tax elimination. Dennis Ganahl from our friends at Mo Tax Relief Now joins us right now. So Dennis, I mean, you were on during the campaigns, after the election. The governor, Senate leadership, House leadership, they all say we are on board. We are going to at least reduce taxes, but we really want to eliminate the state income tax. Let's start there right now because we're accustomed to big talk over the last several years. How would you assess the early movement? Are we on the way to getting significant tax reform that we are going to notice at home and have more money in our pocket at the end of payday?
Oh, good morning, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is a great year. We're looking for two big bills to pass. We're looking for the zero income tax bill to pass. We were walking around the Capitol yesterday with Grover Norquist, visiting legislators, the Speaker of the House, John Patterson, who's introducing the bill in the House this morning at 8 a.m. I'm going in to testify. He was very excited about it and said it was the biggest thing that we could do for Missouri. So I feel very good about that. We've also gotten similar feedback from Senator O'Loughlin's office. So I think that we've got a lot of momentum there. So I really believe that's going to happen. And the other big bill that we're looking for, I think my understanding is John Patterson nicknamed it the One Big Beautiful Property Tax Bill, which is being carried by Ben Keithley, our Ben Keithley out of our district. So I think both of those bills are going to pass.
Dennis, this is Susie Moore. I kind of a follow-up on what you were just attesting to because, 3 weeks ago was the start of session, and there definitely was like high energy and focus on particularly the income tax reform. And obviously the governor was on board with it and talking about being bold. And so your read right now on the temperature in the room there, the energy in the Capitol, is that it is still full steam ahead on that issue?
Yeah, I do think so, Susie. There's going to be a lot of pushback from the Democrats. Their feelings are hurt about last year, so they're kind of whining and throwing filibusters, and so it's going to be tricky for Senator O'Loughlin to work it through the Senate, and when it happens in the Senate. But don't be distracted by those details because all of the Republicans we have spoken with, and I mean everyone, rank and file, they all want to do it. A few of them have questions and they don't quite understand the bill, but we're patiently going through each office. We've got a rally at the Capitol on February 10th. If anybody wants to join us, we're meeting on the third floor of the rotunda, starting at 9:30. We're going to go knock on doors and feed everybody lunch. So I really believe we're going to get there.
Okay, so it's one thing to have the momentum and get a bill passed. What about is it the right bill? I mean, is what has the momentum the right approach, and what's going to change if we get this done?
That's a great question, Mike. I still think the bill is a little bit in flux. I don't know that all of the decisions have been made. The basic structure is we've got a bill, and that bill is going to do some spending caps. The bill is going to do some. It's going to be implementing some sales taxes on things that we haven't paid sales taxes on before. And it's going to be, so we know some of those basic structures. We also know that there may be, if they collect too much revenue, that revenue will come off property taxes. So they've got the basic structure down. We know that healthcare, real estate, and what's the third one? Healthcare, real estate, and some agriculture, we know they're going to be exempt from the sales tax. So, and I think that's to basically, knock down the opposition. So everybody else, I think, is going to not be exempted. I think, People are going to be paying sales tax probably on the internet purchases they make. But let me just give you a fact I worked on yesterday. The average person in Missouri pays $1,500 in state income tax. So you could say, well, okay, if they've got $1,500 in their pocket now, and this is the middle class person, this is who this bill is written for. So the average person has $1,500 that they're going to get back in their pocket. Now that would equal $35,000 in sales. So if they wanted to make purchases online, $35,000, and they would still have only paid $1,500. But most of us know that people in the middle class don't have $35,000. So what they're going to get is $1,500 back, and to spend that $1,500 will cost them maybe $63 in sales tax. So it's a win-win. And so when people tell you that, oh, people's sales tax are going to go up, and we're not going to do, when the Democrats primarily say that, that's not true.
Dennis, you mentioned that you're going to be testifying later today. What committee is that in front of, and what's the subject matter of the testimony?
So the committee is Commerce Committee, and it meets at 8 a.m. in Hearing Room 6. Everybody can watch it online if that's what they would like to do. We're expecting pretty good attendance today. I was speaking with the chairman last night, David Castile, and he told me that, he's expecting a lot of people to testify. The purpose of my testimony is simply going to be to state the fact that Missouri needs to do business differently. We've got the beautiful Ozarks, we've got the beautiful agricultural land up there, and we're still stagnant. Last year, more people moved out of Missouri than moved into Missouri. The only way I was able to get my son to move back to Missouri is I promised him we'd pass zero income tax. He was moving to Florida or Tennessee. So, a lot of families are in that situation. We've got Oklahoma going to zero. We've got 9 states that are going to zero right now. So pretty soon, Missouri is going to be surrounded by Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Iowa, and Kansas that all have zero.
Yeah, my son lives in Florida. You're not getting him out of there. They have got zero state income tax there.
It's a big decision for young people, right? People don't understand that, but young people they're trying to afford families. They're trying to, and so it's just time that Missouri does business differently, and we need to attract businesses. If we could get 200,000 people to move to Missouri, if we could attract the businesses that would support them in jobs, imagine what that would do for the economy. So I think that's a bill whose time has come.
We're visiting with Dennis Ganahl from our friends at Mo Tax Relief Now, and let me shift gears just a little bit. There's actually a court case. There's a challenge to letting most people in the state, or people in most of the counties in the state, vote on limiting or capping their property tax bills. Now, this comes from the debacle and the mess that was the stadium funding special session. But there's a challenge, and it's some of the usual suspects, school districts, library board, a couple activists, things like that. But what is it that Judge Limbaugh is considering? Because the lawsuit, as I understand it, Dennis, is trying to block voters from having a say on limiting their own property taxes in their county.
Yeah, Mike, that's personally, I think that bill is going to have a very tough time standing up in the court. I could be 100% wrong, and I hope I am. But I think it's going to have a tough time just because the same opportunity is not offered to all the counties. And so I think that was like its major challenge. I think that was thrown on at the end with the Kansas City Chiefs because they were looking for some kind of candy to give people. Well, look, if you'll vote for this, we'll give you property tax in your county if you want it. But people like St. Louis County, we won't get it. And so I know that there's a few counties that are looking at, implementing it and scheduling a vote for it, but I'll be surprised if that stands up.
Okay.
But the good news is on property tax this year is the one big, beautiful property tax bill. And what Ben Keithley, if you remember last year, they set up the interim property tax committee, and the interim property tax committee met all across the state. And they got all kinds of feedback from businesses, from hotel owners, from you name it. And they've written up, I'm going to say, like a laundry list of items that would control the process of raising taxes. As an example, anything that's going to be a tax increase would only be able to be held on the general election ballot in November every other year. so that no more could they kind of slip in these April elections where 6% of the people turn out. Another thing is that, like we had happen in Rockwood 2 years ago, they were flipping a bond to general revenue, and they were telling people no tax increase. Well, in this law, that would be illegal. They could not do that. And they can't name them cute names like, save our students and, security at our schools. They'd have to go with Proposition A, Proposition B, period. So there's going to be a lot more transparency in that process. There's some language in there about the appeal process. Now things drag on for years, if you appeal your property appraisal. So it's a lot of good language. I mean, easily, and they're adding more on all the time. That's why they're calling it the one big beautiful property tax bill. Is they're adding things on there like the levies, dropping the levies from 5% in CPI down to 3% in CPI. So there's a lot of things like that that are going to make a big difference in how property taxes are done for everyone, not just seniors.
Dennis, do you get a sense timing-wise of when either of these measures might actually, be brought across the finish line? Is this something that's still going to end up taking down to the end of session, or are we going to see that before then?
They talked about that just yesterday, Susie. The problem are Democrats, so my guess is that this could go down to the last week, and they just start PQing issues. And the Democrats know this. But they want to be the martyr. They want to claim that, lower income people are going to pay more in taxes, and they're going to put out all these discussion points, but they don't work. And in the end, these are all going to pass, even if it's the last day. But it'll happen. Cindy O'Loughlin's showing that she's got the courage to PQ them. Good. So I think she did it 4 times last year, Mike?
Something like that, yeah, 3 or 4, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I think I think they know that the end game is in sight. It's just how long can they delay it.
All right, Dennis, let's go ahead and put the information up. We've already tagged you on the social media, but what's the website again? People want to track what you're doing.
Well, we've got a free newsletter that we send out almost weekly. It's MOTAX, MOTAXRE, I think it's IEF now.org.
Yeah.
MOTAXReliefnow.org. Thanks, Mike.
You got it. We'll talk to you again soon, Dennis. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. We're talking about what Missouri's going to do about taxes, but should Missouri be banning lab-grown meat? We're going to find out why one state lawmaker wants that debate at 6:50.
Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say. Mother, Mother, can you keep them in the dark for a while? Can you have them from a wedding world? Oh, Mother.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I've driven all over Washington, D.C. I cannot find the money tree.
On News Talk STL.
Gonna show her my world.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
When you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home, too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work, real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, guess what season it is?
What season?
Shutdown season.
Oh.
Again, we just had a shutdown season.
The most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah. All right. We'll get the update on that here in a second. President, he's kind of rubbing salt in the wound of some of the Second Amendment advocates in the country. We'll get to that in a minute. And the Billikens, man, they're showing they're for real this year. The top 25 team plays again last night. I'll give you the results. It came down to a last-second shot in the game. All right, 6:51 right now. Let's go ahead and get through another news dump here.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Okay, some Senate Democrats are threatening to sink a massive government spending bill over the provisions on funding ICE and Department of Homeland Services security overall. Are some Republicans starting to get a little squishy and scared on the illegal immigration issue?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they are. Congressman Mike Lawler, Republican out of New York State, was on Fox's America Reports last night, and he says, remember, his words, he says, while President Trump is getting illegal immigrants out of the country, he says, I keep emphasizing, he says, the recent enforcement operations have led to chaos, and the congressman also says this latest piece of legislation needs to address legal pathways for illegals who are already in the country.
The president has effectively addressed the border and is taking care of those that have committed crimes. But there's a larger issue that's been broken for 40 years. We have not had immigration reform since 1986.
Okay, so...
I have a question.
Yeah. I have lots of questions, yeah.
This measure is supposed to address that? This is a funding measure.
This is a funding bill, yeah.
So he's saying the funding bill should address immigration reform?
Yeah,
as opposed to how money's going to be appropriated?
Maybe as part of the deal to get the funding in the first place.
Dude, draw up a separate bill, Mike.
Right.
Get on it.
Yeah.
What have you proposed?
Yeah, and he has gone on a couple of the cable news saying, no, we need to do the amnesty. They're not going to call it amnesty, but the pathway to legality for those.
What's stopping you from putting up a bill on that, Mike?
Because it won't get voted in. But this shows you, I think that there are some Republicans that are looking at the chaos and they're looking at the midterms and they're like, is that going to hurt us? And
Lawler's been looking at the midterms and is that going to hurt him the whole time? So, and again, he's fighting for his political life. I get that.
Yeah.
But don't.
So it's going to be interesting to see if the Republicans hold strong on this. We'll see. All right, President Trump's latest comments put him at odds with some gun rights groups and some other Republicans.
The president said Alex Preddy, the man fatally shot by a federal agent in Minneapolis, should not have been carrying a gun. He told reporters that protesters can't have guns. But gun rights groups, including the National Rifle Association, said Preddy was legally carrying a concealed weapon. And a spokesman for the Gun Owners of America said they were not happy with the president's remarks. Gun rights groups are one of the Republican Party's most loyal voting blocs. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Just an unforced error.
Yes. Now, I'm going to give the most charitable interpretation to that I can. Sometimes when he's talking about things, he's talking about them in terms of how they should be or how he thinks they should be, not what the law is. So the most charitable interpretation you can get to that is that he was saying, and some others would agree, it was probably dumb of Alex Preddy to bring a firearm to this situation, particularly if he thought there might be some physical confrontations. But I'm going way out on a limb to give him a very charitable interpretation here.
That's very charitable based on the words he said.
I was going to say, people are going to attribute that to President Trump misspeaking what he meant, but so is a Freudian slip when you accidentally reveal what you personally think. And I I would agree that Preddy having a firearm did not help the situation, and he probably, I would say, knowing he had a firearm, I don't think it was wrong of him to bring it there. I think it was wrong for him to then insert himself into a position where that could be used against him by law enforcement.
Yeah, I don't think President Trump has an ideology when it comes to 2A.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about. I agree. I don't think he cares about I don't think he cares about gun rights one way or the other. I think it's a political leverage tool. I don't think he's ideological on it. He's I think he'll talk a big game on it when it benefits him.
Well, like most politicians. So I guess my point is that's why it doesn't worry me from a policy standpoint, because I don't think this is an advocacy thing. I think this is just Donald talking off the top of his head.
Yeah. Okay. Another proposed bill in Missouri would ban the sale of lab-grown, or what some people call cell-cultured meat in the state.
Cell-cultured sounds way worse.
It really does. One of the sponsors is Republican State Representative Brad Pollitt, and he says he's motivated, at least in part, by a concern for the future of farmers and the livestock industry.
We've lost so many farmers in the state of Missouri, but also in the United States. Those numbers are dwindling, and whether it's growing cell-based meat in a lab situation or whether it's putting solar panels on very productive farmland, those are things that I'm very concerned about.
Okay, so by the way, Pollitt owns a cattle farming business.
Sure.
So here's the thing is, you couldn't drag me to a place where I'm going to eat lab-grown meat.
Me neither.
I'm not doing it. But it should be my choice if I want to.
Yeah.
I don't see why the government should ban it. And to say we're going to ban it because we got to protect these other businesses, not the role of government.
Just label it, and I don't think it's going to go much of anywhere, to be honest.
Let's hope.
NewsTalkSTL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on NewsTalkSTL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Streaming TV is where it's at. It's not about cutting the cord anymore. That's old news. It's all about your customized TV options. With the best and cheapest high-speed internet and your own TV subscriptions, we've got your dream TV lineup. Between wired and satellite internet and TV, you now have tons of options. Save money and get more internet speed and better TV today by calling the Whole Home Connect. We scan your location and offer you the best TV and internet options. And we always have specials and promotions. So when you call, ask about that. Take 5 minutes of your time, make this free call now, and learn how to save money and get better internet and TV for your home anywhere in the U.S. Make this simple and free call now.
800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. That's 800-257-1632.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
KLJ KHTY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Well, if you think it's cold now where you are, just wait. National Weather Service meteorologist David Roth says that even colder air is on the way, and that should arrive by Friday.
Panic into portions of the upper Ohio Valley. In fact, Ohio. There's forecast lows pretty much all negative. For Dulles Airport, it's 0. I think for Baltimore, Washington, it's 4. But everywhere else is pretty much negative. Philadelphia is -1. Looks like -4 at EVP, Northeast Pennsylvania. I think at Scranton. But as low as -11 in Ohio.
The Arctic cold comes on the heels of that monster snow and ice storm. It moved from the southwest to the northeast. Hundreds of thousands of utility customers still without power this morning. The storm-related death toll, at least 39. It's even higher by some accounts. Democrat Congresswoman Ilhan Omar continued her town hall forum in Minneapolis yesterday after a man sprayed her with some kind of unknown substance. He was tackled and arrested, and she kept right on speaking. Some of President Trump's recent remarks put him at odds with gun rights groups and some Republicans.
The president said Alex Preddy, the man fatally shot by a federal agent in Minneapolis, should not have been carrying a gun. He told reporters that protesters can't have guns. But gun rights groups, including the National Rifle Association, said Preddy was legally carrying a concealed weapon. And a spokesman for the Gun Owners of America said they were not happy with the president's remarks. Gun rights groups are one of the Republican Party's most loyal voting blocs. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Amazon is sending out pink slips to 16,000 of its employees. This follows 14,000 layoffs just 3 months ago. More on these stories at townhall.com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gordon's and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chan Scott with your first alert forecast. We're tracking mostly sunny skies this afternoon high of 30 degrees. Then into Thursday, temperatures cool back down, mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. Overnight, light flurries possible. Into Friday, we drop off 15 degrees. By Saturday morning, could be looking at temperatures just below that 0 degree mark. We've issued a first alert weather day for the frigid cold. Then light snow possible into Sunday, not looking impactful. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scott.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show. I am here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, entrepreneurship, it's one of those buzzwords we hear a lot about, but is entrepreneurship really important to the economy?
It definitely is. Entrepreneurship is a consistent contributor to economic growth. It creates new products and services that people value. It creates the new businesses that provide them. It fosters innovation that improves productivity, and it increases beneficial competition. It generates jobs, income, wealth mobility, and even tax revenues that all support and enhance communities. Entrepreneurship matters, so we need to help it thrive in all our communities.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Mike Ferguson.
What is that private pile? Sir, jelly
donut, sir? A jelly donut?
Susie Moore.
Mama don't like tattletales.
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, St. Louis County is going to have a new county executive in 2027.
It's true.
It is going to happen. Yep. Is this the opportunity that Republicans have been waiting for?
We can hope.
Yes, because it's kind of a open free for all at this point.
Yep.
You know, so we'll see what happens here. We're now joined by St. Louis County Councilman Dennis Hancock, who is running for county executive. Dennis, good chat with you here. I want to start with some of the county business, though. The last time we spoke with you and spoke with Mike Archer and spoke with Mark Harder, we're talking about the money here. The St. Louis County government over the years has managed to spend itself into not quite oblivion, but way into the hole, tens of millions of dollars of a budget shortfall. Sam Page says, grab the Rams money. Just patch the hole. Let's raise some taxes on online sales, even though voters just said no to that not too long ago. Where is the budgeting process right now? I mean, I know something was passed already, but when you look ahead in the years to come, the next county executive, what's the way to lead the county government out of that hole fiscally?
Well, thanks for having me on, Mike. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. This is, as was pointed out during our budget hearings, we're not quite at bankruptcy, but we can sure see it from where we are. If we continue down the path that we're on, it's only a matter of time before we not only run out of money, we run out of reserves, and then we are definitely in a fiscal hold. What we've done as a council is we passed a budget that we can live with for this year. Given our circumstances, we're going to be spending a lot of time this year looking at what are we spending money on, how can we cut back, how can we reduce that spend, what are we spending money on that we don't have to spend money on based on the charter and the state constitution. So I think once we get back to the basics of government and understanding what we have to do and doing just that, then I think we can probably start put some money back into our reserves. You know, this isn't a new problem. This has been going on for at least 20 years, where Democrat after Democrat after Democrat county executive have decided that, it's the old joke about, well, I can't be out of money, I still have checks left. Well, we're there. That's what we've been living with for a long time. And we have to stop it. We have to have a county executive who will impose some fiscal responsibility on the county, on county government, try to rein in the expansion of county government, and just focus on the basics of the things that people think they're paying for when they write that check at the end of the year.
Dennis, that kind of leads into the question I was going to have for you. Good morning. This is Susie Moore. From a leadership standpoint, obviously the council, you all have been taking a look at this very closely and trying to come up with a solution that allows the county to live within its means. But from a leadership perspective, what do you think the executive should be doing to get things back on track from a financial standpoint?
Well, the executive should be leading this effort, and he's not. For example, we're 3 meetings into the new year, and each of those 3 meetings, he's come to us with a proposal to provide a supplemental funding request for various departments. And it's like, dude, we're not even out of January yet, and you're already telling us you're out of money. We looked at one yesterday for the IT department. There's a software package that the county uses to write payroll checks and process payments, and it's the entire financial gamut. And apparently they forgot to budget any money for it, even though last year they ended the year in the IT department with a surplus that would have not only covered the amount of money that's required to pay this bill, but they would have had plenty of money left over. And it's like, well, we didn't realize that was going to happen, even though it comes due every year at the end of December. So, it's that type of stuff that gets very frustrating for me I know in any job I've ever had, as a budget manager, you have to manage your budget throughout the year. If I get, 10% more than I got last year, great. If I got 10% less than I got last year, well, I've got to live with that. And so you find a way to do it. And that seems to be a foreign concept to the county executive.
See, and Dennis, hearing that story right there, that isolated thing right there, that annoys me even more, especially when Sam Page says, well, we got to put the online sales tax back on the ballot, even though voters just said no, when they had money left over and then just, messed that up really bad. That's the kind of thing that I think we should all be really irritated at when some, and basically this is Sam Page on his own saying, well, let's get a tax increase while they're overlooking their own debacle there budgeting wise.
No, I'm right there with you, Mike. I think that and I've been beating this drum for ever since I've been on the council, that it's not a good budget process if you end the year with 10 to 15 to 20% left over at the end of the year. That's money that could have been put to better use. It's money that could have been spent elsewhere. Or here's a novel thought: how about if we just put it in reserve for a rainy day? But that you mentioned that to the county executive, and you get the deer in the headlights look.
Dennis, we know you are running to be the next St. Louis County executive. How is that going, and what should people be on the lookout for in terms of getting involved?
Well, I think, basically the three themes of my campaign are we're looking at crime, corruption, and just plain ordinary old competence. We keep hearing that crime is going down, but people aren't feeling safe. So why is that? Where's that disconnect at? Well, we need to find that. We need to fix it. We need people to feel safe in their homes and when they go out. We need to end the cycle of corruption in St. Louis County government, especially at the executive level. When you have, you go back 10 years and you have one county executive who has spent time in prison. You have the next one who is currently under indictment and scheduled for trial in March. That's not a good record. We need people in county government that the taxpayers can trust that are going to do the right thing while they're there. And then it's just plain ordinary old competence, doing the job that you're elected to do. I've got a track record as a mayor where that's exactly what we did. It wasn't anything flashy. It wasn't anything, that shouted headlines. But at the end of the day, we balanced our budget every year. We made sure our streets were plowed when it snowed. We made sure that the potholes were filled when they needed to be fixed. And that's the kind of stuff that that's the minimum that people expect from their county government, and they're not getting it today.
We're visiting with Dennis Hancock, St. Louis County Councilman running for county executive. And originally, up until just about a month or so ago, we just thought this was going to be Dennis Hancock versus Sam Page. Sam Page not running for re-election. We don't know who you're going to face, assuming that you're the nominee, which certainly looks that way. Could be Senator Brian Williams, could be Assessor Jake Zimmerman, could be somebody else who jumps in. So we don't know what this general election is going to be. Does that make it tough to kind of prepare a campaign for a general election when you don't know who your opponent's going to be? Because those are not wildly different, but those are really different types of candidates that the Democrats have right now.
Yeah, the way I've looked at that, Mike, is it doesn't really matter who the Democrat is. They're all going to run on the same thing. More government is better than less government. Higher taxes are better than lower taxes. And if we need more money, just give it to us, and we'll spend it because we know how to spend your money better than you do. It doesn't really matter who the Democrat is. That's what you're going to hear. My take and my campaign strategy, my campaign focus has never wavered from those three things that I just mentioned. So I think that people want competent government. They want to feel safe in their homes, and they want to make sure that they're, as Richard Nixon famously said, they want to make sure that their president isn't a crook. And I think that people deserve that. And that's a pretty low bar when you really stop and think about it. But we haven't been able to achieve that for a long time.
It's true. Dennis, what other agenda items are the council looking at besides, I mean, obviously budget has been taking up a lot of the oxygen, if you will, but what's other things are on the table?
Budget and the animal shelter.
True.
Yeah, I think that right now we're focused really heavily on the budget. In fact, it's kind of interesting. Last week we didn't introduce a single bill. So I think when you look at that, I don't have a problem with that. We need to focus on the big elephant in the room, which is the budget. And if we can get our arms around that, get that under control, then it frees up energy and it frees up resources that can be spent tackling some of the other problems, like where's the county offices going to be in a couple of years? What are we doing about that? So I think we have some things on the horizon that we need to resolve here in the not too distant future. But right now, our focus is almost entirely on the budget.
All right, County Councilman Dennis Hancock, good to chat with you once again. Dennis, let's go ahead and put the website out there. People want to look you up.
Sure, it's HancockForCountyExecutive.com.
Easy enough. We'll talk to you again soon, Dennis. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Hey, in case you're considering a life of crime, we're going to tell you about a valuable lesson a St. Louis County woman learned this month. It's a case study in what not to do. That's coming up at 7:20.
I mean, if you're going to do something, do it right.
Duh.
I mean, that's the thing. Quality matters.
Inspiration, you have a soul so dark it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Everybody wants me to dance. Could you imagine FDR dancing?
On News Talk STL.
Blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Columbo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
If you're waking up tired, stiff, or feeling like your mattress turned against you, it's time for an upgrade. And right now, Snooze Mattress and Wellness in Chesterfield has the biggest deals of the season. Save up to $900 on Stearns & Foster adjustable sets and up to $700 on Beauty Rest Black. No appointment needed. Walk in, get your personalized sleep assessment. That's real tech, zero guessing, and get matched to the sleep your body's been begging for. If you're ready to stop battling your mattress, come say yes to better rest. Snooze Mattress and Wellness in Chesterfield. Sleep restored, life renewed.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
NPR, guess what? Got defunded, and they're going to close down operations. If they're not going to get federal funding, well, then guess what? There are plenty of radio salespeople out there in the United States who can sell time, big time. You know why they don't sell hire a sales team? Because nobody will buy advertising because they suck so bad.
Oh my God!
You don't see people.
You're so correct. That's it right there.
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. And speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I admit I am not a seasoned, experienced criminal.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I mean, not yet.
I mean, petty. Maybe.
Everybody needs a side
Low-level
hustle.
stuff.
Still working on it, but I'm not seasoned. But if I
Yeah.
were, my guess is I would not replicate one area woman's playbook.
I can't wait to find out
Oh,
what she did.
this is something right here in the metro area. All right, 7:20 right now. So are you keeping up with the chaos that we call news right now? So that's where RedState obviously can help. So, Susie, where should we start today?
This is the Red State Rundown.
Well, 2A has been a big topic lately because of the Alex Preddy shooting and sort of the issues surrounding it. Our resident gun guy at RedState, Ward Clark, who does a Sunday Gun Day column, did a VIP piece yesterday titled, "Should Convicted Felons Be Able to Get Their Second Amendment Rights Restored?" That's an interesting debate. I'm sure Ward delved into it perfectly in perfect detailed fashion, so you want to go check that out if you want to be part of that discussion.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that because that does sound fascinating to me.
Yeah.
That is a very fascinating debate.
It is.
Very
It is.
discussion.
It's one I can see both sides of.
And not all 2A advocates, even uncompromised, not all of them are on the same page on this.
That is true. That is true. If you want a little bit of culture in your life and a little bit of Rush, Jerry Wilson has Geddy Lee of Rush brings Holocaust Remembrance Day into sharp focus. So it's a kind of a look at how Geddy Lee marked the occasion yesterday. Kind of interesting read. Jerry does a lot of our musical and sports coverage, worth checking out. Last but not least, this story kind of flew under the radar yesterday, despite the fact that it involved a Border Patrol shooting.
Yeah, the one in
Arizona.
Southwest, yeah.
In Arizona, yes, and I wrote this one. U.S. Border Patrol involved shooting in Arizona leaves one person injured. We've since gotten an update. We didn't know much about it at the time. We now know that the person injured was a suspect with an active arrest warrant who'd, I think, escaped from a facility where he was serving time for human smuggling. He shot at officers. They returned fire. He was struck. He's in custody. He is in stable condition. So I don't think he's going to be the new face of the anti-ICE Border Patrol movement.
So clearly the fascist Nazis attacked the innocent, father of however many.
I don't know if he's a father or not.
Yeah.
We have not established that. He's 34 years old. Patrick Gary Schlegel is the guy.
Just living his life, just trying to live his life like Tim Walz said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this, if I can share real quick, I'm not going to call this person out. We all have brain farts. It happens. But one of the first things that was commented on the article was, maybe Border Patrol should stick to dealing with the border. And I said, Pima County, Arizona is on the border.
It's like the most bordery place you're going to find on a border.
And the incident happened like within 10 miles of the border.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got like 30 likes on my comment, which I made. I kept it very straight.
Yeah,
I didn't dunk on the person, but it was like, you might want to double check your
Sometimes
geography.
you just get out of the way and let them dunk on themselves. Just saying. All right. Get this. A wanted woman shows up at a city council meeting.
Wanted how?
This is so funny. It happened like earlier this month, like a week or two ago. But now it's kind of coming out into the news. And Channel 2 is actually the ones who found this. So here's what happened is Chris Hayes for Channel 2 was doing the story, and they grabbed the video from the city council meeting because I guess that they stream those just like a lot of municipalities do. And this, we're talking about the Berkeley City Council. So the woman in question was wanted for not just domestic violence, but for literally stabbing and beating her boyfriend, stabbing him and then also beating him with a baseball bat.
Adding insult to injury.
Right.
You can't be doing that.
No. And there's two separate occasions. So here's part of the story from Channel 2. And like I said, Chris Hayes is the reporter here.
Are you kidding me? Is my reaction, because we were trying to get her to come talk to us, and she just refused.
Berkeley Police Major Steve Runge recognized the wanted woman when she spoke at the January 12th City Council meeting.
And then not only that, complained about the police. And I'm like, lady, you're wanted by the police.
The city's recording is out of focus, but you can still see Major Runge on the right texting other officers she's there, and two officers in the back get up to be ready.
My concern was to take her into custody without an issue, without any drama.
Which they did in the hallway outside.
God. So she, her name is, let's see here. Her name is
Not Too Bright?
No, yeah, exactly. That's her street name. Let's see here. Where did the name go? I had it right here a second ago. I'll get it here in a second. But it's funny because you look at the video, you see that police officer who was interviewed. You see him kind of tilt his head, and then he's like starts texting, and then the two other police officers slowly walk in from the back, and I guess they let her get outside into the hallway, and that's where they decided to cover. Oh, Jamesia Moore, that's her name.
No relation.
Yeah, no, different. So here's what she's accused of. Back in October, officers say Jamesia Moore became enraged with her partner after she overheard him mentioning another woman's name.
Okay.
Police say Moore then grabbed a butcher knife and stabbed him in the arm.
Ooh.
And the victim actually recorded the stabbing on the cell phone, and which Moore is heard saying, "You're lucky I didn't stab you in your effing chest." And then about 3 weeks later, another incident between Moore and this guy. Why he's still with her and living in the house, to me, that I'm just saying that's a red flag.
Some guys run to the crazy, Mike.
I know. And officials say on November 12th, the couple had an argument, and Moore went and grabbed a baseball bat and hit him in the leg.
If things don't work out between them, I can fix her, Mike. I'm telling you.
I knew Jerome's ears were going to perk up there.
I'm just saying, there are times where you can work through things, but when she stabs you, it's probably best to move on.
That should be a line in the sand. I agree.
Dust up your dating app profile or whatever the case is. And so she was wanted. There's actually criminal charges, but for some reason they hadn't found her or arrested her, and then she shows up at the city council meeting to complain about the police.
Right. So this is Berkeley, so they, resources may be a thing, so they maybe we're not like on a wild manhunt, woman hunt for her, but...
I don't think they're part of the co-op. I don't think in North County, but I think they've got their own department still. But they still work with everybody. But yeah, Berkeley doesn't have very many police officers.
Right.
Yeah.
No. I mean, so this kind of ties into the discussion we've been having about immigration enforcement. Part of the reason that we're seeing all of this quote unquote chaos is because sanctuary cities are not cooperating with federal law enforcement. And when they have someone in custody who does have a detainer out on them, just saying, hey, we got the guy here in the building, you can come get him here now, and avoiding the drama and the conflict. So here, Jamesia actually avoided the conflict because she if Muhammad can't come to the mountain, move the mountain. Well, I don't know. However, what's the saying? If the mountain won't come to Muhammad, Muhammad will come to the mountain.
Right.
Okay. Similar concept. So this was actually very efficient, and I have to give Jamesia credit for it.
Yes. So she's being held on $100,000 bond. I think they're allowing the 10% thing on this.
Probably, but that's pretty.
That's because she stabbed a dude
and beat him with a baseball bat.
And hit him with a baseball bat.
Both of which can be deadly.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. I now I need to go see the video.
Yeah, I know. It's a little fuzzy, but the funny part was it wasn't even her, and she's at the podium, and she's like giving her spiel, which everybody has a right to do, but it's seeing this cop that they interviewed. You literally, Chris Hayes described it perfectly. You see him kind of go, huh? And then he just starts texting, and then you see the movement in the background.
Yeah, for those watching the stream, it's the head cock moment was
right.
like,
it's like
it was hilarious.
What?
Now, I don't know. People like this are strange though. When I was still a touring musician, we had somebody that they got into a disagreement. The girlfriend or fiance, I can't remember which one, ran the guy over with his own car, and then contacted our band to do a benefit to help pay for his medical bills.
Well, so there was remorse.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if they stayed together after that, but I'm just saying. I mean, these kinds of things are surprisingly more common sometimes than you would expect. But they don't show up to a court place when they're already wanted and say, I have a couple thoughts for your policing. When you know that they're after you, that's like.
Well, Jamesia does.
I mean, what's she going to say? You can't even go find somebody who was accused of stabbing a guy.
I am living proof.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
boy. You got something you want to say.
I love it. It's kind of like tied up neatly in a bow. And like I said, if more criminals would act like Jamesia, we would all be better off for it.
Yeah, so in some way, we do want to thank Jamesia for her service.
Yes.
Now I know if they
not
were
for stabbing the dude, but
No,
for
no,
sure.
no, not for that part.
No.
No, I would love to see if they go to like a couples counseling session and just say, well, here's kind of what's going on. You know, I want to make this work, but she stabbed me and she beat me up,
Right.
and you know, I would love to see what that counseling session looks like.
And how does that make you feel?
That's right. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
man.
she did not, as she stated, give her credit where credit's due. She did not stab you in the chest.
Right.
So, can you see it from her perspective?
He mentioned another woman. I mean,
Well,
she might have been legitimately
maybe,
upset.
Yeah, you know.
Maybe she was hangry. You know, you're not used when you don't have the
Hey,
stickers.
that's legit.
Now, if you have no idea what we're talking about, because you just
Neither do we.
neither do we.
Join the club.
But all of our segments will be uploaded to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning podcast. And if you can't wait that long, but you still have places to be, you can download the free News Talk STL app and listen anywhere you go. You don't have to wait for your vehicle to warm up. You don't have to, worry about being out of the discussion. Join us on the News Talk STL app or join any one of our streams.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
He picked the wrong schoolyard to come into, I have to tell you this.
On News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch with your first alert forecast. We're tracking mostly sunny skies this afternoon high of 30 degrees. Then into Thursday, temperatures cool back down, mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. Overnight, light flurries possible. Into Friday, we drop off 15 degrees. By Saturday morning, could be looking at temperatures just below that 0 degree mark. We've issued a first alert weather day for the frigid cold. Then light snow possible into Sunday, not looking impactful. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
Your business moves fast. PRI Global keeps it moving smarter for almost 30 years, delivering top tech talent to help companies grow stronger, custom applications, simplifying your operations, securing your data, modernizing your business from the cloud up. And with Prismatic, you're going to get real-time insights, automated workflows, people, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. PRIGlobal.com.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
If you have kids listening right now, I'm going to warn you, they're not going to like what I'm going to say. My advice to you parents, turn up the volume. A recent study found 90% of kids between the ages of 12 and 17 use their phones daily just to access the internet. Some inquiries could be educational. What's the deepest freshwater lake in the world? It's in Siberia, more than a mile deep. Other inquiries, how to sexually please another teenager? Not so good. Well, now one country is pushing a law that children under the age of 15 can no longer use mobile phones, at least in school. With all the harmful content on the internet, that might help protect children from everything from being bullied to suicide. The president of this country says our children's brains are not for sale, and there are plans for more such controls. Of course, the question is, how are you going to do it? And kids being the way they are, they'll figure a way around it. And which country is doing this? I think the answer is going to surprise you. France.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hey everybody, Senator Eric Schmidt here, inviting you to the statewide Lincoln Day celebration, February 20th through the 22nd. It's going to be a great weekend with fellow patriots. We'll talk about how we're going to continue to save this country, deliver on President Trump's agenda, and also celebrate America 250. So join us there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Learn more about the 2026 Lincoln Days and get tickets at Missouri.gop. That's Missouri.gop. Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall selling picture postcards in Kansas City to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the free market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
I've told you how Tom Shaw Realtors can help you buy, sell homes, farms, acreage. Listen to what Tom Shaw Realtors did in 2025. More than 100 properties sold, $52 million in sales. ShawRealtors.com.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
NewsTalkSTL.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, support violence against federal law enforcement? For the most part, teachers' unions likely to have your back.
Sure.
I would think.
Free speech.
Free speech. Type 2 words in support of federal law enforcement?
How dare you?
Ooh, you're on your own and get ready to reap the woke whirlwind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's encapsulated in one of the articles on RedState, rather, as well. Got Susie here, got Jerome here, and Mike now joined by Stacy Matthews. You may know her better as Sister Toldjah on RedState. And let me start there. The article, which kind of, I would say had my jaw dropping, Stacy, but good God, we're just kind of used to this nonsense from the extremists and the teachers unions. The article is Chicago teacher faces woke backlash, disciplinary action over 2-word social media remark about ICE. She literally typed 2 words. What kind of disciplinary action is she facing? I mean, this is just insane.
Yes, Mike. Well, first of all, good morning. And I do want to say really quickly, I caught the tail end of your last segment where you were talking about somebody named Moore stabbing people. I didn't catch the first name, but
was not Susie.
If it's Susie, I want to apologize for that typo in my last.
You're safe, Stacy. It was not me.
But about the Chicago teacher, I believe it's actually a male, not a female, and the person, it was just 2 words, and it was apparently in response to some type of article about ICE activity in Chicago, which they've seen a lot of over the last few months as part of Trump's immigration enforcement crackdown. And all the teacher wrote was "Go ICE," and it created a backlash in the West Chicago school district. And the disciplinary action that the teacher could face is termination.
It's just
termination.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, isn't this what
there's a petition circulating to have him fired. The woke mob wants to appear at the next school board meeting, all over these 2 words. Now, you contrast this, Mike and Susie and Jerome, with the other teacher in Chicago who is still working, teaching, and being shielded from scrutiny. This is the same teacher, the teacher who made a mockery of Charlie Kirk's death during one of the No Kings protests. But that teacher is being shielded, but this one is facing termination for supporting law enforcement.
Yeah, because that's the one who did the whole finger gun to the neck and yelled bang and did the And but in this case, the point that you're making there, which is where I wanted to jump in, is the whole point of the teachers unions in a lot of ways is to protect their teachers from external stuff like this. So they're picking and choosing, it seems, who they get to represent based on the ideology, which tells me that it just confirms more that these are political activist organizations more than they are employee protection organizations.
Right. There was a state senator. I don't know what the unions have said about this, Mike, but there was a Democrat state senator. Apparently, she represents that particular part of Chicago, and she said she was standing in solidarity with the woke mob because the two words that the teacher typed, "Go ICE," stoked fear in the community and made people feel unsafe. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, they don't support the police there when the police are trying to do their job, and they don't support ICE when they're trying to do their job. So what's wrong with this picture?
Stacey, I just want to clarify, too. This was a comment that this teacher made on social media. It wasn't like a banner in their classroom or anything directed at students, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
It was on their personal social media. It was not done during work hours or anything like that.
Yeah, I could almost see an argument if it was somehow in the classroom or whatever, and you know, that the student, this is an elementary's teacher, maybe I could understand you don't want to send that message to students and stoke fear. Okay, I'm going to go with that. But if the teacher had said abolish ICE or defund the police or anything like that, I mean, don't they have students whose parents work for ICE or the police too? Why would that not be the same thing?
Apparently, this particular district has a high percentage of Hispanic people living there, and it sounds to me, honestly, the way that the reaction has been to this, it sounds like to me there might be quite a few illegals, and ICE might be paying a visit to West Chicago a little bit more, after this story, because there's been so much dust kicked up over this issue.
Wow, we're visiting with Stacy Matthews, a.k.a. Sister Toldjah, from RedState.com. Okay, so let's talk about the illegal. Let me pivot to another one of your articles that kind of jumped out at me, and this one is in Virginia. There's actually a proposal, and you wrote about this and linked to it and everything, to, of course, restrict ICE and Homeland Security when it comes to immigration enforcement. But specifically, they're saying you can't come within a certain number of feet of a one particular thing. And that's got people raising eyebrows going, wait a minute, we didn't think that polling places mattered in all this. So what is it that's proposed? And then the obvious questions that brings up.
Well, Mike, we've had several instances over the last year alone of Democrats saying the quiet part out loud about illegals voting in elections. We've seen it with Gavin Newsom in California. That's a more glaring example. But in Virginia, there's a Democrat delegate named Alfonso Lopez, and he introduced a bill, HB 1442, that seeks to prohibit federal immigration enforcement activity within 40 feet of polling places. And the thing about it is that if illegal immigrants are not supposed to be able to vote, which Democrats keep telling us is the case, and it actually is the case, then why do they have to have this legislation? Where is the supposed need for this legislation?
Stacey, did he have any explanation that offered for that? Do we have any sense of what was motivating this?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I've checked for a statement from him, and I haven't found anything. But let me just read what the summary of it is. It says, elections, polling places, prohibited activities, acts in furtherance of immigration laws, prohibits any person from performing any act for the purpose in furtherance of immigration enforcement within 40 feet of any building, a polling place, a meeting place for the local electoral board, or the place where the recounts are held. So I think it's pretty obvious here, what's going on. But again, no one seems to want to answer the question. If illegals can't vote, then why is this legislation needed? And a Republican delegate, Ann Farrell, she said that they were shocked at the brazenness of the bill. And she said, first, states can't restrict the actions of the federal government. But more importantly, what's the purpose behind this bill? Democrats tell us illegal aliens aren't voting. It's quite a coincidence.
Right. I mean, this is to say it's an unforced error would be an understatement, Stacy, but it's almost like a circus level unforced error. I mean, this is clown show stuff. Did nobody in the Democratic caucus go, hey, we may be opening ourselves up for something here?
Well, the thing is, too, Mike, and you have to remember Abigail Spanberger's actions the very first day she was in office, one of her very first actions was to end cooperation between Virginia and ICE. So this builds on that premise. that ICE is not to be trusted, that we are going to side with the legal immigrants in our community over American citizens. And I think that's the message that Republicans need to be better at getting out there. You see different, opinions about deportations and some of the other ICE activities, but we have to remember that the reason that all of this is going on is because Democrats have chosen in certain parts of the country, blue states in particular, to not cooperate with federal immigration enforcement on detainers for criminal illegal immigrants. They are protecting criminal illegal immigrants over their own citizens, and that needs to be amplified from Republicans from here until Election Day, because we need to take back control of the narrative about this.
Stacy, with Spanberger in charge and the supermajority that the Democrats have in the Virginia legislature now, I think we're going to see lots more craziness coming out of Virginia. But you also had an article up yesterday with some good news that they may not get their way on something that's really critical to the upcoming midterms.
Yes, and this is kind of fascinating, Susie. And I'm not a legal expert. You are, but this one, we had some people in the comments talk about it. It was the case regarding the redistricting effort that Virginia Democrats have undertaken in response to some of the other redistricting that we've seen go on across the country, mid-century or mid-decade redistricting. And basically, the Democrats in the House of Delegates in the Senate late last year, went forward with a plan to put a constitutional amendment on a ballot, which they were going to do. It was originally set for April of this year, for citizens to vote on whether or not they would allow the House of Delegates and the Senate to redraw the maps to give Democrats a big advantage in the 2026 midterms in Virginia. Well, a circuit court judge yesterday ruled that Virginia Democrats violated their own constitution procedurally in the way that they went about this. And it was interesting. There were some commenters at RedState.com who are familiar with the Virginia Constitution, and they said that this ruling to them was a no-brainer, and that they would not be surprised if the Virginia Supreme Court upheld the ruling.
And so, Stacy, from there, obviously with the appeals process, does that mean that they do not have time to do that gerrymandering before the next midterm, or is there still a chance they can try it again and get it done in time?
If these rulings are upheld, then they will not be able to do this before the midterms. In fact, they would not be able to do it again until 2027, which is their next off-year election.
And how much of a swing in congressional seats, for instance, would that have accounted for?
It would be, if I remember correctly, Mike, it would be 4.
Mm-hmm. That's more than the margin right now.
Yeah, that's
right.
important.
Right. I think it would basically give Virginia one Republican Congress member, and the rest would be. I think it's 9-1 or 10-1. I can't remember the amount of districts they have there, but I believe it was either 9. It would give Virginia Democrats either 9-1 or 10-1 advantage.
All right, and of course, what's in the cooker for today as well?
What's in the cooker? Oh, goodness, there's going to be more on Minnesota. We're still hearing about that and learning about what has happened between Tom Homan and Mayor Fry and Tim Walz, and that's obviously going to be the big story today.
And RedState.com. We'll talk to you again soon. Stacey, thanks so much.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Stacy. It is bump day. And that means Flashback Friday is only 2 days away.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So you need to be getting in your requests, your music requests. Get them into Jerome so that we can be sure to play them on Flashback Friday.
And you want something that's tropical beat? Is that what?
Wow.
No? Okay, no.
No. As I mentioned, it is Wednesday. It's the middle of the week, and you may be getting ready to get out and get some of your errands done because it's not as crazy out with the roads and the weather and stuff. And so while you're out and about, you may need to figure out what you're going to do to eat your lunch or your dinner, and I have the perfect answer for you for that. It's Harpo's Chesterfield. They're located in the heart of West County. They've been there for 20 years. It's the great go-to for a great sports atmosphere, for fun, for great food and drinks. They've got daily drink and food specials. You can check those out if you go to harposstl.com. They've got them listed there on their website. You can also check out their Facebook and their Instagram pages at Harpo's Chesterfield. Those are going to keep you up to date on what they've got, big events coming up. As I mentioned, it's a sports bar atmosphere. So, for instance, if you want to watch the Mizzou Tigers play basketball or the SLU Billikens, who are doing wonderfully this year, you can go hang out there with your friends and watch the game. Great food, great drink, fun, energetic staff. And again, if they've got events coming up, they're going to let you know about them. So you just check out their Facebook page. And if you want to know what their daily special is, I know I talk about it all the time because it's Wednesday, strip steak, 10-ounce strip steak, and 2 sides for like $15. It's a great deal. Go check them out, Harpo's Chesterfield.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I may be having a little too much fun with this upcoming trip.
You may be.
101 straight up. Like, that was cold, Mike.
Yeah.
Just saying. Well, you're cold here. I'm not going to be cold. But just saying.
Right.
Because, it's kind of funny because, it's almost 8 o'clock. So just 24 hours and 8 minutes from right now, I'm going to be on a baseball field competing and playing baseball in Latin America.
Go
That's still like, I'm still like so excited about this.
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
No, you're not.
This is your chance in the big leagues.
No,
Mike.
yeah. So Team Missouri is going to be playing the Forkballers. So my understanding is they're out of Delaware, I think, but I know it's a very good team that's won multiple like national tournaments at our age group level. So that's going to be happening tomorrow, and then Friday we play against Puerto Rico. And then we play later in the day, we play against Philadelphia. And then Saturday, we play against Chicago in the morning and then against Colorado in the afternoon.
Okay.
And if we do well enough, then maybe we get to go on to the bracket play. But that's Team Missouri in the 45 and over Caribbean tournament.
Have fun. Have all the fun.
I will. Just saying here. All right, 7:53 right now. Real quick here, man. Okay, so some weirdo charges at Ilhan Omar, and then sprays her with
something.
We don't know what it is. I'm sure we'll find out before too long. But basically, she's given kind of her town hall thing, and she's ranting and going off on Kristi Noem in this case here. And here's what actually happened. The guy was sitting right in the front row, like literally right by the podium, and this is what it sounded like.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
And so he jumps up right at her, and then he takes a step back, and then he has this. And when you say syringe, I don't want to like mislead people. Not the like medical kind where they're taking blood from you at a blood test or at a hospital. We're talking like the kind your dentist gives you when you've got to clean out your wisdom teeth, and so the plastic kind.
Right. So it's got a plunger and it's plastic. It doesn't have a needle.
It does not have a
attached to the
needle
end
in
of
it. But still, that's a scary situation. You know,
It is.
and this guy got to within, a foot of her, and then he kind of took a step back when he was yelling and mumbling whatever at her. And he did spray whatever that stuff was on her. And then, of course, by that time, after probably 5-10 seconds, some security guy went and grabbed him and kind of pulled him down. Ilhan Omar's response was a little unusual. She cocked her fist back and she went after her. She took a few steps and then stopped.
She had
but
a few choice names for him,
she
too.
had some colorful words.
Which if it legitimately happened, I don't blame her one bit. That's the one area, let's just assume for argument's sake that this was not staged. I'm just going to go there.
Right.
Let's assume that. I don't blame her for her reaction. I actually think I kind of admire it. But that's the extent of it. And I'm not convinced it wasn't staged.
Because there's a big question as to whether or not it was staged. I'm like you. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, could have just been a dumb, crazy guy who did something dumb and stupid, and everybody was in. Yeah, that's possible. But here's the thing. If there were a vacuum and nothing like this, like no political violence were happening at all, I think we'd probably be going, this is another Juicy Smollett situation here. But we know that there's been all kinds of political violence, and we've talked about, dehumanizing each other. And, I think Ilhan Omar is a terrible, person, just based on the values that we've seen from her and the actions that we've seen from her, much less her ideology. But, but I'm saying is that if we get worked up when the threats happen to those on the right, we can't dismiss when something like this happens to somebody on the left. Now, on the left, if it gets proven that this was all staged and fake, okay, that's one thing. Then we're going to be even harder on it because you're leveraging something that's horrible that's happening in society. But at this point, I'm like, I'm going to assume it was real until somebody shows me different. But I'm definitely open to being shown the evidence. Let's just put it that way.
I'm persuadable.
Yeah.
The thing of it is, I don't even care. It doesn't matter who it is. This shouldn't be the way that we deal with our political discourse. I can't stand Ilhan Omar, but that doesn't justify me in any way attacking her, accosting her, that sort of thing.
I'm glad she's not hurt. She's a sitting member of Congress.
Absolutely. Yeah. No one should be doing that. No one should be doing that. I don't know how much clearer you can be about that.
Well, yeah, and assuming it is real as well is probably the most rational thing given the current evidence or lack of evidence that we have otherwise. I think it's clear that if this individual had intended to cause any sort of harm or there was something toxic in the thing he sprayed from the syringe, spraying it on her shirt instead of her face, I guess she would be lucky in that scenario. But I think it's definitely a reminder that there are people out there, if this is a legitimate thing, there are people that are taking it upon themselves to go out of their way to, at the very least, invoke a sense of terror or disturb the peace of where they're at. And that's just not acceptable in civilized society.
Yeah, and if somebody goes, well, he was just trying to startle or scare her. Oh, okay, by the way, that's part of the definition of terrorism.
Yes.
It's not just using violence, it's also using the threat of violence.
You don't have a First Amendment right to squirt weird stuff out of syringes at people.
No, you don't.
You don't. That's assault. That's battery.
Right.
You can't do it.
No. So until we know differently, I'm 50-50 on where it is, but I'm very open to any and all evidence. But in the meantime, let's be consistent. This kind of crap cannot happen, and our side, at least, is the side that has the wherewithal to say we're not going to do it. So let's call it out when it happens.
Yes.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. She was at the podium speaking at a town hall forum in Minneapolis yesterday when a man rushed up and sprayed Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar with some kind of substance. We're not sure exactly what it was.
The spraying happened as Omar called for the abolishment of ICE. Police say the man sprayed Omar with a syringe. He was tackled to the ground, and Omar said she would continue with the town hall and would not be intimidated. Police identify the man as 55-year-old Anthony Kazmierzak.
And correspondent Donna Warder says we don't know his story. No one had any visible reaction to whatever it was that was sprayed. Employee layoffs in the news. E-commerce giant Amazon pink-slipping 16,000 employees after laying off 14,000 just 3 months ago. And UPS is trimming its workforce by 30,000.
The job cuts will be made through voluntary buyout offers for full-time drivers and through attrition. In a regulatory filing in October, UPS said that it had already cut 34,000 operational positions and closed 93 buildings during the first 9 months of 2025. The company also says it is officially retiring its fleet of McDonnell Douglas MD-11 cargo planes after a deadly crash in Louisville, Kentucky that killed the crew and at least a dozen people on the ground. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
President Trump says he is not on board with calls for the resignation of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Democrats and some Republicans say that in light of the unrest in Minneapolis, Noem should go. President Trump says no to that. What will the Fed do about interest rates? We'll find out later today. Most economists think that Federal Reserve policymakers will keep short-term rates right where they are. More on these stories, townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch with your first alert forecast. We're tracking mostly sunny skies this afternoon high of 30 degrees. Then into Thursday, temperatures cool back down, mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. Overnight, light flurries possible. Into Friday, we drop off 15 degrees. By Saturday morning, could be looking at temperatures just below that 0 degree mark. We've issued a first alert weather day for the frigid cold. Then light snow possible into Sunday, not looking impactful. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michaels Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michaels has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his hand-picked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, I guess we've got to keep an eye out for a possible government shutdown again.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, a week or two ago, we're like, not going to happen. No, now we're like, no, there could be something here. We'll see.
I'm going to be honest. If not for the fact that you had told me the government had reopened at some point, I would have never even known that they had reopened at this point.
Yeah, because it didn't affect our lives because we try to live in a way that's not dependent on the government.
Yeah.
But it looks like the Democrats are pushing to have another partial government shutdown. I mean, the Democrats shut it down the first time, and it looks like they're pushing for it more overtly this time. Also, the president seems to back up the anti-Second Amendment rhetoric that we've heard from his team this week. This is really disappointing. Very disappointing.
Yeah.
And the Billikens' win streak came down to a last-second shot last night at Chaffetz Arena.
Wow.
Yeah, 8:06. Let's go ahead and do one final news dump.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
Okay, so Senate Democrats are threatening to sink the government spending bill over funding for ICE and the Department of Homeland Security, and that would lead to a partial government shutdown if it does not clear the Senate by Friday. And some Republicans are starting to not really backtrack, but signal that they're a little uneasy with the hardline stance regarding immigration enforcement right now. So this is something to keep an eye on because you got a few that are getting a little soft on the issue.
So, and you mentioned it would be a partial shutdown. What does that mean?
Well, that means that there were some spending bills that have already been passed after the last shutdown, that several buckets of the government, that's already passed, that's already done. This wouldn't be a complete shutdown. Like, for instance, in this case, I don't know that like the FAA would be affected because I think they did fund that. Maybe I'm wrong, and that's one of the areas they didn't fund. But like one of the problems was they weren't funding, air traffic controllers and things like that. I think that part's been taken. So there are some buckets that just have not been finalized yet.
So the things that have already been passed, put into motion, would continue in motion, but nothing that has not already been set in motion would get through.
Right,
Got
exactly. Because when they do the federal budget, not that we have had a real federal budget in 30 years, but what they do is like they can vote on each and every, kind of, for lack of a better term, bucket. This part of the funding, this part of the funding, and there's nothing wrong with that approach. They just haven't done all of them yet. So Democrats have an opportunity here. Congressman Mike Lawler, a Republican out of New York State, was on Fox's America Reports, and he says, while President Trump is getting illegal immigrants out of the country, the recent enforcement operations have led to chaos. And the congressman also says that this latest piece of legislation, meaning the spending plan, needs to address, again, his words, legal pathways for illegals who are in the country, and he says are not breaking laws.
The president has effectively addressed the border and is taking care of those that have committed crimes. But there's a larger issue that's been broken for 40 years. We have not had immigration reform since 1986.
And just so the congressman knows, is that every day someone in the country is here illegally, they are breaking our laws.
By definition.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. President Trump's latest comments put him at further odds with gun rights groups, Second Amendment groups, and an increasing number of Republicans.
The president said Alex Preddy, the man fatally shot by a federal agent in Minneapolis, should not have been carrying a gun. He told reporters that protesters can't have guns. But gun rights groups, including the National Rifle Association, said Preddy was legally carrying a concealed weapon. And a spokesman for the Gun Owners of America said they were not happy with the president's remarks. Gun rights groups are one of the Republican Party's most loyal voting blocs. Greg Clugston, the White House.
And I've got the audio of what the president said, but there's so much background noise. It's just frankly kind of annoying to hear it over the audio. But what he said was, and I'm just going to quote, the president says, "You can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just can't. You can't walk in with guns." Those were his exact words.
And for further context,
he's talking about the protest.
And that was in response to a journalist asking a question about the Second Amendment.
Right.
And
yeah.
I
So
don't like it.
The president was wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just wrong on that. All right, we've got another day or so of basic cold winter weather, and then get ready for another weekend of Arctic cold weather. By Saturday, the low actual temperature is going to be around 3 degrees. We're going to be back in the mid-30s by early next week, though, and that means go back to, you know what, open up that cabinet underneath the sink if you're on an exterior wall, maybe keep that water going. There have been some water pipe bursts. I saw a story on, I don't remember if it was Channel 4 or Channel 2's website. Apparently, plumbers are getting calls 24/7 right now. We're getting a lot of pipe bursts. The driveway parking lot, part of the parking lot of the Galleria, got flooded because of a pipe burst. And there was a pipe burst down off Manchester, like in the Maplewood area. So it's happening. So we're not done with it just yet.
Yeah, this is unfortunately the time of year where you really discover how good your HVAC system is as well. So, I mean, if you are not 100% confident in it, maybe it's time to start looking at what pipes are exposed that you can wrap up and to maybe better insulate your home.
Yep, precisely. All right. The proposal to restore presidential primary elections in Missouri is derailed in a committee. On Tuesday, the House Elections Committee voted to remove that part from an overall election bill. The bill's sponsor is Representative Peggy McGaugh, and she says she's going to try to add it back as an amendment once the rest of the bill is debated in the full House later this session. So as it stands right now, the next presidential election, we're looking at caucuses again in the state of Missouri. She's trying to change it back to primary. Big debate on whether or not she would have primaries or caucuses. To me, it's almost a moot point because Missouri has been rendered irrelevant in the presidential nomination process because of how far back we are, because of the way that the Republican and the Democratic parties nominate their president. The nominee's been picked by the time they get here.
Wow.
So
I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, they, after Iowa, after New Hampshire, after South Carolina, that there's 2 or 3 that drop out, and the parties protect those states and give them an oversized statement. I mean, there are people who drop out after New Hampshire. It's like, that's a tiny, tiny little state. Why is that, affecting who's still in the game, for Missouri and, for Illinois and for all the others. But at this point, it looks like we still got caucuses unless they make a change later this year. All right. Let's see here. Another proposed bill in Missouri. This would ban the sale of lab-grown meat in the state, or what's called cell-cultured meat. And I think Susie's right. Cell-cultured meat sounds a whole lot worse and more gross than even lab-grown meat. But one of the sponsors is Republican State Rep Brad Pollitt. He says that in part he's motivated by a concern for the future of farmers in the livestock industry.
We've lost so many farmers in the state of Missouri, but also in the United States. Those numbers are dwindling, and whether it's growing cell-based meat in a lab situation or whether it's putting solar panels on very productive farmland, those are things that I'm very concerned about.
Okay, so one note is Paula does own a cattle farming business. Also, the legislation has not been scheduled for any hearings at this point. Listen, you couldn't pay me enough to eat a lab-grown meat burger. I won't do it. But come on, this isn't the government's job to tell me what I'm allowed to buy and not allowed to buy. And secondly, to pass a law and ban something just to protect somebody else, that's not the role of government. This is just bad policy.
I mean, you remember what Impossible Meat was, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the next big thing, plant-based meat substitutes. Yeah. And last time I checked, they actually stopped producing most of that because nobody was buying it.
Nobody wanted it.
I can understand maybe the logistical issues of diverting resources into the labs that would develop the meat, but I'm with you. I'm not touching it. But if you want to eat it and it's clearly labeled,
if you want to say you have to clearly label it, that's fine. That's fine. I got no issue with that. I think we should do that. But to say, well, we got to ban this because I'm worried about the impact it's going to have on this industry. No, that's not government's job at all. All right. Remember Sweethearts, the Valentine candy?
Yeah.
The little chalky, gross little hearts that you handed out at Valentine's Day in grade school. They would come with messages like "Be mine" and stuff like that. Okay, well, the candy hearts are going to have some new 2026 appropriate messages on them.
Oh.
Yeah. According to the Spangler Candy Company, which owns that product, They are responding to a survey that says 80% of Americans are worried about affordability in the current economy. And let me just pause real quick and point out, I'm not making this up, what I'm about to tell you. I am not making this up. So they have added love in this economy messages for the 2026 version of the Sweethearts Valentine candy. Did I mention I'm not making this up?
That's a very bold decision.
Okay, so among the Be Mine and all the others, some people are going to see split rent, share login, carpool, or buy in bulk. Those are going to be mixed in with Cutie Pie and Kiss Me and Be Mine and things like that.
You know, that special someone in your life, maybe that's the new love language. I would contribute to your 401k.
That's right. Yes, I would share my login with you. Ooh, get over here. Get over here. So that's actually a real thing. I looked at the company's I had to look them up and look at their press release. That came directly from the company. Oh, man. Okay, man. Couple sports things here. A three-pointer with 3 seconds to go secures the win for the Billikens last night. Robbie Avila's last-second shot broke the tie, lifted SLU to a 79-76 win over George Washington. That was at Chaffetz Arena. Billikens are now 20-1. They are ranked 21st in the nation. They host Dayton on Friday. Blues have now lost 5 games in a row. They gave up 3 goals in the second period, but then the Blues rallied, scored 3 of their own in the third period, but unfortunately for them, the Stars also scored once in the third period. Final score, Stars 4, Blues 3. Blues are back at home tomorrow for this one. I believe it's tomorrow to face the Panthers.
Stop right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up.
You know, I'm getting a lot of comments, and I really appreciate it, kind of basically on how much better shape I've been getting. But it's not even just what I put on my body. It's also what I put in my body, obviously, with the nutrition and also with the everyday things that just don't have the additives and the chemicals and all the nasty stuff in it. Mike Ferguson for my friends at Nutrition Stop. I was just there yesterday, loading up on a couple of things to take with me on my trip down to Puerto Rico for my baseball tournament. But for instance, when I go take a shower, I am using soaps that do not have all those chemicals and additives in them at all. So I am not putting that stuff on my body. When I do my personal hygiene and get the deodorant and stuff, no aluminum, no chemicals. It is natural stuff that works just as well. And that's in addition to the nutrition that has helped me not just lose weight, but lean out, have more body mass. I have changed the proteins that I use for my breakfast shake in the morning, for my post-workout shake, and they don't have those artificial chemicals in them. They don't have the artificial sweeteners. They don't have those artificial bonding agents. It's all natural, and my body is responding to it exceptionally well at the age of 54. And so if it can work for me at my age, it can work for you at any age. You can build muscle and get leaner at any age. Nutrition Stop has the expertise to show you how to do that. Go ask them questions. I rely on them for their expertise and for their knowledge and for their passion of this. And yes, this is where I get a lot of my proteins, my bison, my meat, my vegetables. They've got a great fruit selection. They've got everything from the morning shake that I have with my protein to my all-natural caffeine-free chamomile tea that helps me get to sleep at night, all naturally. They've got it at Nutrition Stop right there on Mexico Road, just off of I-70 in Cave Springs. NutritionStop.com. Be sure to tell them that Mike was talking about them on the radio and come with your questions. They will guide you in the right direction, just like they have with me.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs Attorney at Law has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs Attorney at Law. Call 636-949-0010 extension 3 today or visit colecombs-law.com.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new NewsTalkSTL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Had some of our fringy friends here in St. Louis take to the streets again last night.
Oh, yeah?
Tell you about that here in just a second. It is coming up on 8:20. I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm really excited about this trip. So, Susie's going to be here. Jerome's going to be here. I'm actually getting on a plane in about 6 hours, and I'm actually headed to Puerto Rico to play in this baseball tournament. If for those who have kids who are in like organized sports, there's an app called Game Changer. So if you want to follow what happens in our games, you can go on Game Changer and just look up Team Mo. And it's basically a graphic image of our uniform that's going to be on there. But I'm going to send in, some video and some audio. So I'll send in a report. I mean, having a lot of fun with obviously the weather situation on there. But it's funny because 24 hours from right now, I'm going to be on the baseball field playing baseball.
Can you bring
in January?
Can you bring some of this weather with you? Or?
I will do my best. Now, by early or mid next week, we're going to be back in the mid 30s, and if it's sunny at all, then that's really going to help a lot. And I do think there's a chance of like a little bit of snow later next week, but the worst of it should be over for a while after this weekend here. And basically, other than in some North County areas, I saw a story that, like for instance, in Riverview, there's some residents there saying our streets haven't been cleared yet, which means that they're basically ice at this point because that snow was really super fluffy and all that kind of stuff. But there are some areas, and they looks like they're the North County cities, that there haven't been snow plows through yet. So there are some people who have been left behind on this. Most of us in the metro area, we're fine. There's no problem getting around most of the metro area. So I was really surprised when I saw that. I expected the stories about pipe burst and things like that because when the weather stays that cold for that long, and we've got this many homes in this area that are older and historic, or just older, it's going to happen when you're at or below zero for an extended period of time, and there's some street water mains that are broken, some house water mains. It's just going to happen. You take every precaution that you can, but you just can't get away from it.
Yeah, and I've also seen prior to the deep freeze that we've experienced that they were still working on the cleanup efforts of the tornado. So I wonder if how this is all factored into that, because I had originally thought that the cleanup had been completed, but then some more reports had come out showing that. So I'm sure that it's just a very messy situation. In that
it
area.
may be 10 years before they fully recover, and because that area that got hit by the tornado back in May, that was an area where a lot of those buildings, in all candor, because I've been up there and been there after the tornado hit.
Likewise.
Yeah, those were really old buildings that were not maintained the way that people who have more resources are able to maintain their homes. So, some of those just were big piles of brick. And, there were some that, frankly, were never up to any sort of code at that point anyway. So it's going to take a lot longer. The fact of the matter is that an area in North City and the parts of, the county that got hit, I'm not talking Richmond Heights and Clayton, we're fine. But those areas that don't have those resources and, didn't have insurance coverage and didn't have, these are homes that were handed down and paid off. It's going to take a long, long, long time. Long time. This tornado hits in Chesterfield. Let's be honest. It makes a mess. But with the insurance coverage and the resources, your crews rush in and it's fixed within a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case in North City. Let's just be really candid about it. And that's what they're dealing with.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. So I hope everybody that's stuck out that way, I hope everything's going all right for them.
Yeah.
But to your credit, you said that we should be approaching the tail end of this, and so
Yeah.
it should be getting back at least to normal winter levels. Or
Normal
maybe
winter
early,
by early and mid next week. We're at least in the mid 30s. I mean, and if you're in the mid 30s and you get sunshine, it can feel okay. It's fine. I mean, it's January, February in the Midwest. That's about normal. But look for one more break. And I'm not trying to be funny because obviously I'm not going to be here for a few days. But it's going to be back to that kind of dangerous level. And those are the actual temperatures of 3 degrees. I think on Saturday is the low of 3 degrees, and that's before you get into the wind chill. And so it's going to be rough. Stay inside, but you can drive around. I mean, the roads are fine.
And we can watch you play baseball if we're stuck inside.
Well,
right?
yeah, actually, I think on the Game Changer, I think actually those games are going to be broadcast.
There we go.
I think now I say broadcast. I think it's going to be a matter of somebody puts their phone up on the fence and does it that way. It's not like that sort of thing. But yeah, it's going to be fun because the first team we play they're the Baseball Barbecue Forkballers. Funny name, but this is a very, very good baseball team for our age group. This is a 45 and over tournament. They have won multiple national tournaments.
Wow.
And so they've got their sponsor, but they're a very, very good team. So we're going to play them literally 24 hours from right now. Then Friday, we've got a doubleheader at 10:30 there, and I think Puerto Rico's only one. I think it's Eastern time, basically. So we play against Puerto Rico at 10:30 in the morning, and then we play against Philadelphia Friday afternoon. And then Saturday we play against Chicago. So St. Louis versus Chicago. Well, it's Missouri. It's not just St. Louis. This is Missouri. So we play against Chicago, and then Saturday afternoon we play against Colorado.
Oh,
yep.
It's a very, very good starting schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be, and I know most of the guys on the team. There's a couple. I think there's some guys from Kansas City, and there's one guy who lives somewhere else. But for the most part, it's majority of the team is from St. Louis. But our uniforms are just Missouri. So we're just representing Missouri. And so we're going to be down there. It's going to be a lot of fun and be able to play kind of at that level. And come on, any baseball player gets a chance to play in Latin America. I mean, that's a dream come true. I mean, Latin America's got such a great baseball tradition. I mean, such a fantastic passion for the game of baseball. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to take pictures. These are professional stadiums we're going to be at. Nobody's going to be there to watch it, but they're professional stadiums. And just get to enjoy the culture and enjoy the food. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll send in some video. I'll send in something each day that we can do that. Then I'll be back by Tuesday. I'm flying back on Monday, but I'll be back in the studio on Tuesday as well. Okay, so we had some of the protesters out in St. Louis last night. Wasn't it kind of dumb cold last night too?
It was absolutely dumb cold.
Yeah, so they got all bundled up and they went and marched around downtown last night after dark.
Okay.
That's the right response, Jerome. That is the correct response.
Because that downtown St. Louis has a vibrant nightlife when it's freezing cold outside.
It doesn't have a vibrant nightlife when the weather's perfect. Unless you include drive-bys as a vibrant nightlife, but other than a ball game or a concert, in very specific designated areas. I mean, if you're outside Ballpark Village, there's just not much there. But last night, so they go march through the streets, and the police department, they posted, we're monitoring this protest. We're, be aware kind of stuff. So apparently they went marching through the streets. Nobody's downtown at night after this. So they're kind of preaching to their own choir there.
Now, are we sure this was an anti-ice protest, or was it ice, and they were marching around to help break it up off the ground?
That could be. Oh my goodness. So they protested ice in the ice, essentially is what they were doing. So, and I've got an update to the story here. The president did not change his mind after the Party of Socialism and Liberation chanted stuff in downtown St. Louis. Imagine that. But, it looked like the same kind of cast of characters that we see with the No Kings thing and all of that. These were just these weren't the old hippies. These were the young radicals, the young communists and things like that.
I would assume all the elderly ones that we see were already in bed long before that.
Totally.
And that's an interesting thing that you mentioned, that so far they've not been successful in changing the president's mind.
That.
So I've been thinking about this because we've been very fair, I think, in the way that we've covered Renee Good's death, the death of Pretty as well.
Yeah, because we're still waiting on the rest of the details on his death. Yeah,
but I would love to hear from somebody. If somebody wants to give us a call, that they're after seeing a screaming, chanting group of people in the streets, if that changed your mind, if you could help us see what we're missing, I would actually really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a matter of, what I think illegal aliens, especially the most violent ones who victimize Americans, they should be thrown out of the country. But I don't know. The chick with the purple hair and the nose ring was saying no justice, no peace. I really need to rethink my position.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing too, because a lot of the people that I see that are sympathetic towards these anti-ICE people say, well, no, we still want the really bad ones to get out there. I'm like, well, how are they supposed to be able to get the really bad ones when you're constantly supporting people that are obstructing their ability to do anything? You don't think that when people are honking their horns, that the only people hearing that is, I'm one of the good illegal immigrants,
right,
and it's not going to be the bad ones that are also sitting there saying, oh, okay, they're here, let's skedaddle. I mean,
yeah, and I didn't get the details. I don't know if they took over streets that they weren't supposed to, or if they just stayed, on Keener Plaza or something like that, but nothing violent happened. It was non-violent. You just kind of roll your eyes and like, well, if you're dumb enough to walk around in 8-degree weather, I guess that's on you. You go, they, them. I don't want to say you go, girl, or you go, boy. You go, they, them.
Now, our Democratic friend Scooter says, exercising their First Amendment rights peacefully as it should be. And
I got no issue with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, we will have fun. I mean,
which is what we've said the whole line. Around here, the St. Louis protesters have generally done that. You give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a few over the past couple of years here and there where somebody takes it upon themselves to be just out of line in what they're doing, and that unfortunately has had consequences. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, we're going to laugh at it, make fun of it, but that we still support your right to give us content to talk about on air.
But when you do, here's the thing, though, to Scooter's point. Here's the thing is when you do it right, then what we have to do is debate your ideas.
Yes.
And I'm still going to make fun of your purple hair and your nose ring, but we have to engage in your ideas, because that's how you do a better job of getting your message across. Running in the streets, breaking stuff. It doesn't matter how virtuous you think your protest is. Banging on drums outside of hotel rooms because you think there might be an ICE agent trying to talk to his wife on the phone or whatever the case is. At that point, we don't have to engage your ideas. You're just a crappy person. But when you hold your signs, do your marches, provided that they're peaceful and you're not violating anybody else's rights, then if I don't like it, then I have to engage your ideas. I can still point and giggle at you, like you said, but we're engaging the ideas. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, when you're marching in the streets because you've coordinated with law enforcement so they can block off the streets for you to be in, I mean, it's still going to be an inconvenience, but you're doing it right. When you walk off the sidewalks into the middle of the road and then people are not putting up with that, that's an entirely different thing. And, of course, we're going to mock you if somebody gets sick of that, right? Now, on the other hand, though, are Missourians going to get our taxes lowered as promised? We've got that update for you coming up at 8:35.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Always be yourself, unless you suck.
On NewsTalkSTL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're tracking mostly sunny skies this afternoon high of 30 degrees. Then into Thursday, temperatures cool back down, mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. Overnight, light flurries possible. Into Friday, we drop off 15 degrees. By Saturday morning, could be looking at temperatures just below that 0-degree mark. We've issued a first alert weather day for the frigid cold. Then light snow possible into Sunday, not looking impactful. In the first alert for Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scott.
Fox News commentary with Johnny Joey Jones. Next.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Here's Johnny Joey Jones.
If you are a police officer conducting police work and it's explicitly outlined, someone has resisted arrest, violently or not, then you have the ability to protect yourself. Do I think he should have been shot? No, because I see 10 things that happened before that happened that could have been handled differently. But what I don't see are the 10 minutes before that happened. You call him a protester, I call him an agitator. He showed up with a cell phone. He showed up in the middle of the street, in the middle of an operation. That's common sense. I don't care what your passions are. To carry a weapon on your person and to get in the middle of a police operation, whether you believe it or not, that is lawful 100%. Another way it could have been prevented is if there was a police cordon from Minneapolis Police Department stopping people from, like Alex Pretty, from getting in the middle of the operation rather than holding a sign and speaking loudly and proudly from 100 feet away.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Yo, this is Vic.
Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Brought to you by Alamo Military Collectibles, Gemini Wealth Group, and Heroes Care.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
I've got Dr. Michael Lewis here, West Point graduate, physician, and retired Army colonel. Is considered the world's leading expert on the use of omega-3s for traumatic brain injury and concussions. Stuart Tomp brings over 30 years of experience in the supplement industry, brought $1 billion of products to the market, and has appeared in over 6,000 media interviews worldwide, and travels internationally and teaches on health.
Stuart Tomp here, and I've come across the biggest breakthrough in personalized nutrition I've seen in 25 years.
Dr. Lewis here. You know, for the first time, we can measure cellular and gut health. So you can start testing and stop guessing and make decisions based on real data. I'm working with world-class scientists and physicians, and what they're doing is changing everything.
You can message me at elizabeth@statmedicalllc.com. That is Elizabeth at statmedicalllc.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Just a few minutes ago, actually, there was some big movement on the effort to cut taxes and even eliminate the state income tax in Missouri that's underway at the Missouri Capitol literally as we speak right now.
Yes.
Yes, that's happening. Our friend Dennis Ganahl from Mo Tax Relief Now was on with, we just talked to him literally just a couple hours ago, right before he headed into what's happening right now. And there was a lot of really good information. So I really wanted to give everybody a chance to chew on this. And so here's what Dennis Ganahl from Mo Tax Relief Now had to say.
Okay, we've heard the big talk. So now it's time for Missouri lawmakers to deliver. So let's assess the momentum when it comes to tax reform, maybe even tax elimination. Dennis Ganahl from our friends at Mo Tax Relief Now joins us right now. So, Dennis, I mean, you were on during the campaigns, after the election. The governor, Senate leadership, House leadership, they all say, we are on board. We are going to at least reduce taxes, but we really want to eliminate the state income tax. Let's start there right now because we're accustomed to big talk over the last several years. How would you assess the early movement? Are we on the way to getting significant tax reform that we are going to notice at home and have more money in our pocket at the end of payday?
Oh, good morning, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is a great year. We're looking for two big bills to pass. We're looking for the zero income tax bill to pass. We were walking around the Capitol yesterday with Grover Norquist, visiting legislators, the Speaker of the House, John Patterson, who's introducing the bill in the House this morning at 8 a.m. I'm going in to testify. He was very excited about it and said it was the biggest thing that we could do for Missouri. So I feel very good about that. We've also gotten similar feedback from Senator O'Loughlin's office. So I think that we've got a lot of momentum there. So I really believe that's going to happen. And the other big bill that we're looking for, I think my understanding is John Patterson nicknamed it the one big beautiful property tax bill. Which is being carried by Ben Keithley, our Ben Keithley out of our district. So I think both of those bills are going to pass.
Dennis, this is Susie Moore. I kind of a follow-up on what you were just attesting to because, 3 weeks ago was the start of session and there definitely was like high energy and focus on particularly the income tax reform. And obviously the governor was on board with it and talking about being bold. And so your read right now on the temperature in the room there, the energy in the Capitol, is that it is still full steam ahead on that issue?
Yeah, I do think so, Susie. There's going to be some a lot of pushback from the Democrats. Their feelings are hurt about last year, and so they're kind of whining and throwing filibusters, and so it's going to be tricky for Senator O'Loughlin to work it through the Senate and when it happens in the Senate. But don't be distracted by those details, because all of the Republicans we have spoken with, and I mean everyone, rank and file, they all want to do it. A few of them have questions and they don't quite understand the bill, but we're patiently going through each office. We've got a rally at the Capitol on February 10th. If anybody wants to join us, we're meeting on the third floor of the Rotunda, starting at 9:30. We're going to go knock on doors and feed everybody lunch. So I really believe we're going to get there.
Okay, so it's one thing to have the momentum and get a bill passed. What about is it the right bill? I mean, is what has the momentum the right approach, and what's going to change if we get this done?
That's a great question, Mike. I still think the bill is a little bit in flux. I don't know that all of the decisions have been made. The basic structure is we've got a bill, and that bill is going to do some spending caps. The bill is going to do some, it's going to be implementing some sales taxes on things that we haven't paid sales taxes on before. And it's going to be, so we know some of those basic structures. We also know that there may be, if they collect too much revenue, that revenue will come off property taxes. So they've got the basic structure down. We know that healthcare, real estate, and what's the third? Healthcare, real estate, and some agriculture. We know they're going to be exempt from the sales tax. So, and I think that's to basically, knock down the opposition. So everybody else, I think, is going to not be exempted. I think, people are going to be paying sales tax probably on the internet purchases they make. But let me just give you a fact I worked on yesterday. The average person in Missouri pays $1,500 in state income tax. So you could say, well, okay, if they've got $1,500 in their pocket, now this is the middle class person, this is who this bill is written for. So the average person has $1,500 that they're going to get back in their pocket. Now that would equal $35,000 in sales. So if they wanted to make purchases online, $35,000, and they would still have only paid $1,500. But most of us know that people in the middle class don't have $35,000. So what they're going to get is $1,500 back, and to spend that $1,500 will cost them maybe $63 in sales tax. So it's a win-win. And so when people tell you that, people's sales tax are going to go up, and we're not going to do, when the Democrats primarily say that, that's not true.
Dennis, you mentioned that you're going to be testifying later today. What committee is that in front of, and what's the subject matter of the testimony?
So the committee is Commerce Committee, and it meets at 8 a.m. in hearing room 6. Everybody can watch it online if that's what they would like to do. We're expecting pretty good attendance today. I was speaking with the chairman last night, David Castile, and he told me that, he's expecting a lot of people to testify. The purpose of my testimony is simply going to be to state the fact that Missouri needs to do business differently. We've got the beautiful Ozarks, we've got the beautiful agricultural land up there, and we're still stagnant. Last year more people moved out of Missouri than moved into Missouri. The only way I was able to get my son to move back to Missouri is I promised him we'd pass zero income tax. He was moving to Florida or Tennessee. So, a lot of families are in that situation. We've got Oklahoma going to zero. We've got 9 states that are going to zero right now. So pretty soon Missouri's going to be surrounded by Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Iowa, and Kansas that all have zero.
Yeah, my son lives in Florida. You're not getting him out of there. They have got zero state income tax there.
It's a big decision for young people, right? People don't understand that. But the young people, they're trying to afford families. They're trying to, and so it's just time that Missouri does business differently, and we need to attract businesses. If we could get 200,000 people to move to Missouri, if we could attract the businesses that would support them in jobs, imagine what that would do for the economy. So I think that's a bill whose time has come.
We're visiting with Dennis Ganahl from our friends at Mo Tax Relief Now. And let me shift gears just a little bit. There's actually a court case. There's a challenge to letting most people in the state, or people in most of the counties in the state, vote on limiting or capping their property tax bills. Now, this comes from the debacle and the mess that was the stadium funding special session. But there's a challenge, and it's some of the usual suspects, school districts, library board, couple activists, things like that. But what is it that Judge Limbaugh is considering? Because the lawsuit, as I understand it, Dennis, is trying to block voters from having a say on limiting their own property taxes in their county.
Yeah, Mike, that's personally, I think that bill is going to have a very tough time standing up in the court. I could be 100% wrong, and I hope I am. But I think it's going to have a tough time just because the same opportunity is not offered to all the counties. And so I think that was like its major challenge. I think that was thrown on at the end with the Kansas City Chiefs because they were looking for some kind of candy to give people, well, look, if you'll vote for this, we'll give you property tax in your county if you want it. But people like St. Louis County, we won't get it. And so I know that there's a few counties that are looking at implementing it and scheduling the vote for it, but I'll be surprised if that stands up.
Okay.
But the good news is on property tax this year is the one big beautiful property tax bill. And what Ben Keithley, if you remember last year, they set up the interim property tax committee, and the interim property tax committee met all across the state, and they got all kinds of feedback from businesses, from hotel owners, from you name it. And they've written up, I'm going to say like a laundry list of items that would control the process of raising taxes. As an example, anything that's going to be a tax increase would only be able to be held on the general election ballot in November every other year. So that no more could they kind of slip in these April elections where 6% of the people turn out. Another thing is that, like we had happen in Rockwood 2 years ago, they were flipping a bond to general revenue, and they were telling people no tax increase. Well, in this law, that would be illegal. They could not do that. And they can't name them cute names like, save our students and, security at our schools. They'd have to go with Proposition A, Proposition B, period. So there's going to be a lot more transparency in that process. There's some language in there about the appeal process. Now things drag on for years, if you appeal your property appraisal. So it's a lot of good language. I mean, easily, and they're adding more on all the time. That's why they're calling it the one big beautiful property tax bill, is they're adding things on there like the levies, dropping the levies from 5% in CPI down to 3% in CPI. So there's a lot of things like that that are going to make a big difference in how property taxes are done for everyone, not just seniors.
Dennis, do you get a sense timing-wise of when either of these measures might actually, be brought across the finish line? Is this something that's still going to end up taking down to the end of session, or are we going to see that before then?
They talked about that just yesterday, Susie. The problem are Democrats, so my guess is that this would go down to the last week, and they just start PQing issues. And the Democrats know this, that they want to be the martyr. They want to claim that, lower income people are going to pay more in taxes, and they're going to put out all these discussion points, but they don't work. And in the end, these are all going to pass, even if it's the last day. But it'll happen. Cynthia Laughlin's showing that she's got the courage to PQ them.
Good.
So I think she did it, 4 times last year, Mike?
Something like that, yeah, 3 or 4, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I think I think they know that the end game is in sight. It's just how long can they delay it?
All right. Dennis, let's go ahead and put the information up. We've already tagged you on the social media, but what's the website again? People want to track what you're doing.
Well, we've got a free newsletter that we send out almost weekly. It's MoTax, MoTaxRE, I think it's IEF now.org.
Yeah.
MoTaxReliefNow.org. Thanks, Mike.
You got it. We'll talk to you again soon, Dennis. Thanks so much.
Alrighty, people. I want your 80s Flashback Friday music, and I want it now. or throughout the rest of the week. But now I want it. So Mike's not going to be here with us, so I figured I could still expand my journey into 80s culture, and I want to hear the best deep cuts or forgotten gems of the 80s. So give me your best deep cut 80s music tracks to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Make your holiday special with Anthony's Produce, serving our community for over 28 years. Order fresh fruit and vegetable trays for work parties, family gatherings, and celebrations. Send chocolate-covered strawberries or a stunning fruit bouquet to someone you love. Plus, get seasoned firewood for pickup or delivery to keep your home cozy all winter long. Open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Order online at anthonysproduce.com or call 636-936-0496 on Jungerman Road in St. Peters.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
It is an honor and a privilege to have U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt.
Hey, I have to tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you this. In the 90s, what would this have been? Mid-90s.
Yeah.
And I was I worked at Grant's Farm and I had a couple other jobs. In the afternoon, I would often hear and listen to Porcelli's Deli on the radio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making me feel older than I already feel. That's just great.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So Greenland, right? Mineral-rich island, strategically located. We need it. We'll talk to Dr. Bonner Cohen about that Wednesday at 9:41.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right, so many huge things that are happening, but what's everybody talking about today is this thing at the Ilhan Omar town hall meeting.
Yes.
Such a weird thing. And maybe we're going to get more details on it later on today, but it is such a weird situation. And so I've got obviously some mixed feelings on it. And part of this is probably my own tribalism. I don't like her. I don't like her ideology. I don't like her hatred for people like me and what I think is hatred for the United States. She's basically said it. But at the same time, political violence is a real thing, obviously. And generally speaking, it targets the right, and it also targets the non-political that the right supports, like law enforcement. And so I don't want to completely dismiss something when it targets the left. We don't know whether, there's a lot of accusations that this was staged. Some of that's probably tribalism. There's no way that, Ilhan Omar would ever be attacked by somebody. I don't know. They're going back to the Jussie Smollett thing, as well, MAGA country or whatever. So I don't know what the truth is on it, but until we get the evidence that says it was not what's being presented, that it wasn't just a crazy, goofy guy who jumped up and got within a foot of Ilhan Omar and sprayed her with some kind of liquid all over her blouse or sweater, whatever she was wearing. Let's go with that's what it was, and then I'm very, very open to evidence to the other one, to the contrary. So at the moment, just taking it at face value, and again, I'm not saying I'm 100% convinced, but let's just take it at face value. It's scary that somebody got within a foot, unabated, to a sitting member of Congress, and a very, very controversial lightning rod one at that. In this circumstance, I don't care what Ilhan Omar's ideology is or what her personal values or lack thereof are. Had this guy really had the wherewithal and the intentions to hurt her, nobody was there to stop it. So this is one of the reasons that a lot of members of Congress just don't do these anymore. You know, we've had a number who've said, especially after the Charlie Kirk murder, that it's just, you know, it's out of control. Leftists, we know, want to be physically disruptive and even violent. And you put people at risk who just want to talk to their member of Congress. You know, Wesley Bell got a handful of that a month ago, 2 months ago, something like that in St. Louis. And he's on the left, and the fringe left is the one that did it. It wasn't the conservatives that were in there doing it. It was the fringe left. And it doesn't even matter whether it's left or right, is that we've gotten to a point where an elected representative should never be putting themselves in danger to go talk to their constituents, regardless of what we think of what they have to say.
Yes. I mean, and it is, I think because of this specific, what we're used to seeing with these sorts of things compared to what happened this time, I think that might be fueling why people are also thinking it's staged.
Yeah.
Because we're used to people actually committing or trying to do harmful acts of violence.
Right.
And in this instance, I mean, if he had bad intentions, like actual harmful intentions, then very clearly he could have had the opportunity to do that.
There was nobody in between him and her. Nobody.
But the fact that we did not get a clearly identified, here's why I'm doing this, here's my trademark chant that I'm using, here's my identifiable, what my cause for doing this is, it is a little, it's suspicious and it's weird, but that also, again, to your point, is that there was some sort of security measures, from what I heard, is that they had, you know, like a metal, the way of detecting metal or something like that.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
I've seen people saying that. I'm not going to say that as fact, but there was clearly, you know, the gentleman that grabbed the guy. I mean, there were people there that had eyes on the situation that could have responded. And for people to take it upon themselves, if this is legitimate, to do a stunt like this for whatever, I mean, I think it was Susie that said the only thing she could really make out is that you should be either impeached or something.
You should resign or something like that. Yeah.
But even then in the audio, he didn't yell it loud enough to hear. He didn't have anything identifying it. And so what this is going to do is is either going to encourage people to get more crafty and sneaky with how they try to do the things, or it's going to prevent people from actually having the ability as we the people to talk to and address our representatives.
And if you see the pictures and you see the video, the guy looks like somebody who's not all there.
Clearly not there.
But those are the ones who can be the most dangerous.
Yeah.
So I want to basically say, I don't want to be a hypocrite and laugh it off because nobody got hurt, when very clearly somebody could have gotten hurt. And we can't govern if the elected representatives are open game, open season. That is not the society we want. That's not what we can function in. Now, you know, again, a lot of people are saying this was completely staged. Maybe it was. We don't have the evidence of that. We just have, I'm looking at this and this is what I think. Maybe it was, but until we see that, I'm going to take it for what it's worth and say, listen, it's bad when they do it to us, and it's bad when somebody who says they're on our side does it to them. Either way, you know, this is something that can't be tolerated. And eventually what's going to happen is elected officials are just going to stop meeting with people in person in group settings. And so we're going to have less communication. They're going to say, just follow me on social media. I'll do a video or I'll do a big Zoom chat or something like that.
Now, somebody mentioned that Trump called Omar names, and that's why she was attacked. But we don't have any confirmation that this guy was even MAGA.
No.
The closest thing I've seen is that there's a social media screenshot where he bought like pro-Ukraine stickers a couple of years ago. Well,
you mean the guy that jumped up?
The weirdo, the guy. But there's nothing I've seen that confirms that he was like a diehard pro-Trump or any political, you know, we just don't have the information.
No, we don't. And even if he was, it doesn't. You know, it doesn't justify and it shouldn't change our view of what happened. You know, it just shouldn't, you know, and as far as, you know, Trump calling her names, yeah, he has, you know, a lot of them. She's under investigation for fraud, but that should be the argument. If the left is upset about that, then look at your own behavior and let's all dial it down.
Ever feel like just a number in a waiting room? Hi, I'm Shannon Tribune, Director of Operations with Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Navigate